What if the most unprecedented military assembly in contemporary American history wasn't convened due to terrestrial dangers, but because an extraordinary entity is currently traversing our solar system? An entity that is causing astrophysicists at Harvard to question everything they believed about interstellar travelers and leading Pentagon officials to privately ponder if we are witnessing our initial encounter with technology originating from another star system. Welcome to another in-depth exploration at the nexus of pioneering science and the enigmas that fuel our contemplation of our place within this immense universe. If you find pleasure in venturing into the unexplored territories of knowledge, where rigorous science intersects with tantalizing possibilities, please express your appreciation by clicking the like button, subscribing to the channel, and sharing in the comments section where you are watching from, the current time in your location, and the most peculiar unexplained phenomenon you have ever experienced. Now, let us delve into a narrative that is unfolding directly above us at this very moment. On September 25, 2025, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth issued a directive that sent shockwaves through military command structures across the globe. Every general and admiral holding the rank of brigadier general or higher, serving in command roles worldwide, was summoned with immediate effect to Marine Corps Base Quantico in Virginia for an urgent meeting. No explanation was provided, no agenda was shared. Only an unprecedented convergence of hundreds of the most senior military leaders on Earth, drawn from active deployments spanning 6 continents, with a mere 48 hours notice. But here is what renders this account truly remarkable. Merely 2 months prior, on July 1st, an automated telescope system situated in Chile detected an object that would profoundly challenge our comprehension of cosmic visitors and ignite fervent discussions regarding the potential existence of extraterrestrial intelligence. The object, designated 3I Atlas, was not merely another celestial body. It was the third confirmed interstellar object ever discovered, hurtling through our solar system on a trajectory so precise, so perfectly aligned with our planetary orbits, that the statistical likelihood of such a path occurring by sheer chance is less than 0.1%. According to NASA's official announcement of its discovery, 3I Atlas was initially observed by the Atlas Survey Telescope located in Rio Hurdo, Chile. The Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, designed to identify potentially hazardous asteroids, captured what initially appeared to be nothing more than a faint point of light. However, as astronomers meticulously calculated its orbit, they realized they were observing something unprecedented. The object was moving at a speed exceeding 200,000 kilometers per hour on a hyperbolic trajectory, signifying its origin from beyond our solar system and its continued journey into deep space after its passage around our sun. What distinguishes 3I Atlas from previous interstellar visitors is not solely its magnitude, although initial estimates suggested a diameter of up to 20 kilometers, making it by far the largest such object ever detected. What renders it truly extraordinary is its behavior, its trajectory, and the expanding catalog of anomalies that are prompting some scientists to articulate possibilities that would have been relegated to the realm of science fiction mere decades ago. Dr. Avi Loeb, the controversial theoretical physicist from Harvard who previously posited that the first interstellar visitor, oumuamua, might be of artificial origin, has been raising increasingly urgent inquiries concerning 3I Atlas. In a series of scholarly papers and online essays that have garnered international attention, Loeb asserts that the object exhibits characteristics more indicative of engineered technology than naturally occurring space debris. The evidence he presents is both compelling and disquieting. Firstly, the sheer immensity of 3I Atlas renders its discovery statistically improbable. Objects of such scale should be exceptionally uncommon among interstellar visitors. The probability of encountering such a massive object through random observation is calculated at approximately 1 in 10,000. Yet, here it is, the third interstellar object we have ever identified and by far the largest. Secondly, the trajectory of 3I Atlas follows what can only be described as an optimized path for planetary observation. Rather than traversing our solar system at an arbitrary angle, as would be expected from cosmic detritus ejected by gravitational interactions in a distant star system, this object is traveling almost precisely along the plane of the planets. This alignment facilitates its passage relatively close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, presenting theoretical opportunities for detailed examination of each world's characteristics. But the most unsettling aspect of 3I Atlas might be its timing and intended destination. The object's current path will carry it behind the Sun in late October of 2025, providing an ideal window for clandestine course alterations. Any probe equipped with advanced propulsion systems could utilize this solar occultation to modify its trajectory without human observers being able to track the maneuver. In essence, 3i Atlas will vanish from our sight at precisely the juncture when it could most readily change its course toward Earth. Dr. Lowe has suggested that if 3i Atlas is indeed an artificial construct, its mission might align with what science fiction author Liu Cixin termed the dark forest hypothesis. This theory endeavors to elucidate the Fermi paradox, the perplexing absence of detectable alien civilizations despite the vast multitude of potentially habitable worlds in our galaxy. According to this postulation, advanced civilizations deliberately remain concealed because the universe is populated by predatory species that eradicate any civilization they detect. In such a cosmic environment, any alien probe would be engineered for stealthy reconnaissance, gathering intelligence on potential adversaries while evading detection. The implications are chilling. If 3i Atlas represents our inaugural encounter with extraterrestrial technology, its objective might not be peaceful exploration, but a systematic evaluation of human capabilities and planetary defenses. The trajectory that brings it into proximity with multiple celestial bodies could signify a comprehensive survey mission, cataloging everything from atmospheric composition to indicators of technological advancement. These apprehensions, while dismissed by most mainstream astronomers as speculative fiction, would not be overlooked by military intelligence analysts. The Pentagon possesses a substantial historical precedent for treating potential threats with seriousness, even when the probability of those threats is relatively low. The identical institutional mindset that spawned Project Blue Book, the Air Force's two-decade investigation into unidentified flying objects, would almost certainly mandate a thorough appraisal of any credible scientific conjecture regarding potentially adversarial alien technology. Within the framework of national defense, the distinction between probable and possible assumes a different significance. While scientists require overwhelming substantiation before embracing extraordinary assertions, military strategists must contemplate worst-case scenarios and prepare for contingencies that may never materialize. The discovery of an anomalous interstellar object, coupled with credible academic speculation about its potentially artificial nature, would undoubtedly trigger classified deliberations concerning appropriate response protocols. Consider the sequence of events that emerges when we examine these occurrences chronologically. 3i Atlas is identified in early July. Throughout July and August, astronomers worldwide conduct increasingly detailed observations utilizing some of the most powerful instruments available, including the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope. According to NASA's mission updates, these observations reveal the presence of water vapor and carbon dioxide within the object's coma, suggesting typical cometary activity. However, other characteristics remain perplexing. The European Space Agency's frequently asked questions document regarding 3i Atlas notes that the comet's fluctuations in brightness do not conform to expected patterns for a rotating nucleus. Its spectroscopic signature displays unusual features that are difficult to explain using conventional models of cometary composition. Most significantly, despite purportedly expelling material into space as it warms near the Sun, 3i Atlas maintains a remarkably stable trajectory with no discernible minor deviations typically induced by outgassing. By September, sufficient data would have been amassed to enable intelligence analysts to conduct their own independent assessment, separate from public scientific discourse. While astronomers debated whether the object exhibited clear evidence of natural cometary behavior, classified discussions would have scrutinized more concerning possibilities. What if the apparent cometary activity was a form of concealment? What if the stable trajectory indicated active guidance systems? What if the approach to our solar system represented the initial phase of a systematic survey or preparation for more direct contact? These queries would have ascended through the chain of command, eventually reaching the uppermost echelons of the Defense Department. Secretary Hegsth, already recognized for his unconventional leadership style and his readiness to challenge established protocols, would have faced a decision of unprecedented magnitude in modern military history. How does one prepare for a threat that may not exist, but if real, could pose an existential challenge to human civilization? The answer appears to have been the most comprehensive convocation of military leadership in American history. Every general and admiral, irrespective of their current assignment or operational sensitivity, was mandated to attend a classified briefing at Quantico. The level of secrecy surrounding this assembly was unparalleled. Even the officers themselves received no prior information regarding the meeting's purpose. One anonymous official, speaking to CNN, described the atmosphere as reminiscent of a dystopian novel, coining the phrase that the gathering felt akin to the general Squid Game. The logistical undertaking alone was staggering. According to reports from the Washington Post and CBS News, officers were withdrawn from active combat zones in the Middle East and Africa. NATO commanders departed from their European posts. Pacific Fleet admirals interrupted ongoing exercises to return to American soil. The expenditure associated with transportation, security, and operational disruption would have necessitated authorization from the highest governmental levels, implying that whatever prompted this meeting was deemed a matter of extraordinary import. The selection of Quantico as the venue for the meeting carries additional significance. While Marine Corps Base Quantico is primarily recognized for its officer training programs, it also houses some of the military's most secure briefing facilities. These chambers, engineered to prevent any form of electronic surveillance or communication leakage, would provide the ideal environment for discussing information deemed too sensitive for conventional Pentagon briefing rooms. As reported by multiple news outlets, the Pentagon's official response to media inquiries was limited to a statement indicating that Secretary Hegseth would be addressing his senior military leaders, with no specific details provided about the meeting's purpose or scope. This degree of confidentiality, combined with the unprecedented nature of the gathering, created an information vacuum that was filled with speculation and rumors throughout military and defense contractor circles. Meanwhile, 3I Atlas continued its journey through our solar system, increasing in brightness as it approached the sun and becoming visible to increasingly powerful telescopes. Each new observation contributed to the growing repository of data concerning this enigmatic visitor. Some findings supported a conventional interpretation as an unusual but natural comet. The presence of water vapor and carbon dioxide detected in the object's coma aligned with expectations for cometary composition. These observations were highlighted by NASA and mainstream astronomers as evidence that 3I Atlas was indeed what it appeared to be. However, other observations proved more problematic. A study published by researchers at Michigan State University revealed that 3I Atlas had been visible in archived images from NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite dating back to May of 2025, 2 months prior to its official discovery. This pre-discovery detection suggested that the object had been active and observable for a longer duration than initially understood, raising questions as to why it had not been identified sooner by automated detection systems. Dr. Loeb continued to voice his concerns regarding these anomalies through his blog on Medium and academic preprint servers. His writings blended rigorous scientific analysis with speculative scenarios that captivated the public imagination. The possibility that humanity was experiencing its inaugural contact with extraterrestrial technology, even in the passive form of an unmanned probe, represented a profound transformation in our understanding of our cosmic position. Yet, despite all the public excitement and scientific deliberations surrounding 3I Atlas, the most critical discussions were taking place behind closed doors within secure governmental facilities. Intelligence analysts were conducting assessments of the object's characteristics utilizing capabilities unavailable to civilian astronomers. Military space surveillance networks, designed to track potential threats in Earth's orbital environment, were being reoriented toward this interstellar visitor. The convergence of these two narratives, the mysterious military assembly and the controversial comet, illuminates the intricate relationship between scientific discovery and national security in the contemporary era. When extraordinary claims are advanced concerning potentially extraordinary phenomena, the response must strike a balance between skeptical scientific inquiry and prudent preparedness for improbable, yet potentially calamitous eventualities. What makes this narrative particularly captivating is its unfolding against the backdrop of humanity's evolving relationship with the cosmos. For the majority of human history, the expanse between stars was regarded as an insurmountable void, a natural barrier that shielded Earth from any external threats. The discovery of interstellar objects such as oumuamua, Borisov, and now 3I Atlas has irrevocably shattered that presumption. We now understand that matter, and potentially technology, can and does traverse interstellar distances. The statistical analysis that renders 3I Atlas so intriguing also underscores the limited extent of our knowledge regarding the frequency and nature of interstellar visitors. If objects of this magnitude are as rare as calculations indicate, then encountering 3 such visitors within less than a decade suggests either extraordinary fortune or a fundamental misunderstanding of interstellar object populations. Some astronomers have proposed that our enhanced detection capabilities are simply revealing a previously undetected multitude of cosmic travelers. Others, like Dr. Lowe, contend that the unusual characteristics of these objects necessitate more unconventional explanations. The debate extends beyond academic circles into the practical sphere of policy. How ought governments to respond to discoveries that challenge our perception of cosmic phenomena? What protocols are in place for evaluating potential threats emanating from space? How do intelligence agencies assess claims concerning extraterrestrial technology when the evidence remains ambiguous, yet the potential implications are immense? These questions become even more intricate when we consider the international dimensions of space-based threats. 3I Atlas is approaching not solely the United States, but Earth as a whole. Any potential peril it might represent would affect all of humanity. Yet, the response, at least as indicated by the Quantico meeting, appears to be predominantly national in scope. This raises uncomfortable questions regarding the management of global threats in an era characterized by international competition and mutual distrust. The scientific community's reception of Dr. Lowe's theories has been varied, with many astronomers expressing frustration over what they perceive as premature conjecture based on incomplete data. Dr. Tom Statler, NASA's lead scientist for solar system small bodies, informed The Guardian that 3I Atlas appears to be a comet and exhibits cometary behaviors, emphasizing observations of typical cometary activity. Other researchers have pointed to the detection of standard cometary materials as evidence refuting hypotheses of artificial origin. Nevertheless, even skeptical scientists acknowledge the anomalous aspects of 3I Atlas that warrant continued investigation. Its considerable size, precise trajectory, and stable behavior do distinguish it from typical cometary visitors. The ongoing observations by multiple space telescopes represent an unparalleled opportunity to study an interstellar object in detail, irrespective of its ultimate nature. The timing of these events also coincides with broader shifts in how governments and military organizations approach space-based phenomena. The recent establishment of the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office and the publication of official reports concerning unidentified aerial phenomena reflect a growing inclination to investigate unusual occurrences that might have previously been disregarded or ignored. This institutional evolution towards a more serious consideration of anomalous phenomena creates a context wherein scientific speculation about objects like 3I Atlas garners increased attention from policymakers and defense officials. Whether this signifies appropriate prudence or unwarranted alarm hinges largely on one's evaluation of the underlying scientific evidence and the probability of extraordinary explanations. As 3I Atlas continues its trajectory toward the inner solar system, the stakes of this discourse steadily escalate. The object will reach its closest proximity to the Sun in late October, at which point it will become obscured by our star for several weeks. Upon its reappearance, astronomers will have their final chance to observe this interstellar visitor before its return to the cosmic void. However, those weeks of solar occultation represent more than merely an observational gap. They signify a period during which any hypothetical course adjustments could occur undetected. If 3I Atlas is indeed under intelligent direction, those crucial weeks could determine whether this narrative concludes as a fascinating footnote in astronomical history or as the commencement of something far more consequential for human civilization. The military leaders convened at Quantico in September of 2025 were almost certainly briefed on these very possibilities. Their classified deliberations would have encompassed response protocols, detection capabilities, and contingency plans for a range of scenarios. The unprecedented nature of their assembly suggests that whatever information they received was considered sufficiently serious to warrant the redirection of hundreds of senior officers from their regular duties. Whether that assessment proves to be accurate remains to be seen. 3I Atlas may ultimately reveal itself to be nothing more than an unusually large and strategically positioned fragment of primordial ice and rock, a captivating but ultimately harmless visitor from the depths of space. Or it may represent something far more extraordinary, our first confirmed encounter with technology originating from another star system. The beauty of this unfolding saga lies not in its ultimate resolution, but in what it reveals about humanity's escalating sophistication in detecting and analyzing cosmic phenomena. We inhabit an era where interstellar visitors can be observed while still millions of kilometers away, where space telescopes can meticulously analyze their composition with unprecedented detail, and where scientific debates regarding their nature can influence policy decisions at the highest levels of government. This signifies a fundamental transformation in humanity's relationship with the cosmos. We are no longer passive observers of celestial events, but active participants in a cosmic dialogue that may extend far beyond the confines of our solar system. The profound question of whether our conversations will ever extend to other forms of intelligence remains one of the most significant challenges facing humanity. The narrative of Three-Eye Atlas and the potential military reactions it has spurred compels us to contemplate these possibilities not with apprehension, but with the same spirit of awe and inquisitiveness that has consistently fueled human exploration and discovery. Within the immense void separating the stars, ancient voyagers carry tidings from distant realms. Some of these dispatches might be penned in the universal lexicon of physics and chemistry, detailing the natural history of stellar systems vastly removed from our own. Others, perhaps, are meticulously crafted by intellects that share our fascination with the cosmic collective to which we all belong. The unveiling of Three-Eye Atlas signifies more than just another addition to the repository of celestial curiosities. To grasp why this particular interstellar visitor has captured the attention of both scientific minds and defense strategists, we must delve into the fundamental laws governing celestial motion and the reasons why the trajectory of Three Atlas defies numerous expectations concerning random space debris. When we contemplate the vast emptiness between celestial bodies, it's easy to envision interstellar space as a pure vacuum through which objects traverse in unswerving lines at unvarying speeds. However, the reality is considerably more intricate. Every entity in the cosmos exists within gravitational fields generated by stars, planets, and the enigmatic dark matter that shapes the very fabric of galaxies. An interstellar traveler, whether of natural or artificial origin, must navigate this complex, three-dimensional expanse of gravitational forces. For a natural object to be expelled from its stellar system of origin and embark on an interstellar voyage, it typically necessitates a close gravitational encounter with a substantial planet or a stellar flyby that furnishes sufficient energy to surpass the escape velocity of its parent system. According to computational models published in the Astrophysical Journal, such ejection events tend to confer arbitrary velocities and orientations upon the departing entities. The overwhelming majority of cosmic wanderers should arrive at alien star systems from essentially random directions, following paths that bear no correlation to the orbital planes of planets within their destination systems. This is precisely what renders Three Atlas so extraordinary and disquieting. Instead of appearing from an arbitrary spatial orientation, this object approached our solar system along a trajectory that lies nearly perfectly within the ecliptic plane. This is the same flat disk within which Earth, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter orbit our Sun. The mathematical likelihood of a randomly ejected object coincidentally aligning so precisely with our planetary system has been calculated by several independent research groups, and their findings are consistently disconcerting. Dr. David Dwight from UCLA, a preeminent authority on minor bodies within the solar system and a participant in the Hubble Space Telescope's observation of Three-Eye Atlas, has characterized the alignment as statistically improbable to the point of being practically impossible through sheer randomness. In an interview with the New York Times, Dr. Dwight observed that the object's trajectory suggests either an extraordinary happenstance or some form of directed movement. Yet, the alignment of its path represents merely one facet of the enigma surrounding Three Atlas. Equally perplexing is the object's remarkable steadiness as it journeys through our solar system. Natural comets, particularly those on their initial approach to the Sun, typically exhibit unpredictable behavior as volatile substances on their surfaces begin to sublimate. This outgassing creates streams of material that function like miniature thrusters, causing the comet's orbit to deviate subtly in unforeseen ways. According to observations disseminated by the European Space Agency, Three-Eye Atlas displays minimal deviation from its anticipated course despite palpable indications of cometary activity, such as a visible coma and tail. This stability suggests either an unusual internal composition that minimizes outgassing effects or the presence of a mechanism that counteracts the natural perturbations that ought to be influencing its trajectory. The estimations of Three-Eye Atlas's dimensions add another layer of complexity to an already perplexing scenario. Initial luminosity measurements indicated an object of exceptional magnitude, potentially spanning 20 kilometers across, which would position it not only as the largest interstellar visitor ever detected, but also as larger than 99% of all known comets within our own solar system. Subsequent observations utilizing the Hubble Space Telescope have refined these estimates, suggesting a more modest, though still significant, size ranging between 5 and 6 kilometers in diameter. Even with these revised measurements, Three Atlas remains remarkably substantial for an interstellar entity. The physics governing planetary formation and ejection processes imply that smaller objects should be considerably more prevalent among interstellar wanderers than massive ones. Large celestial bodies necessitate greater energy to accelerate to escape velocity and are more likely to be gravitationally retained by their originating systems. The discovery of such a considerable visitor, as only the third confirmed interstellar object, defies statistical expectations in ways that continue to baffle astronomers. These anomalies have not gone unnoticed by Dr. Avi Loeb, whose prior controversial assertions regarding the artificial nature of oumuamua established him as arguably the most prominent proponent of seriously considering extraterrestrial technology hypotheses. In his ongoing appraisal of 3 Atlas, disseminated through both academic channels and popular media, Dr. Loeb has broadened his arguments beyond mere statistical improbabilities to encompass broader inquiries into how we might identify artificial objects in space. Dr. Loeb's approach to the 3 Atlas enigma draws extensively from concepts within the search for extraterrestrial intelligence SETI community. Traditional SETI endeavors have primarily concentrated on detecting radio signals from alien civilizations, operating under the premise that advanced technological societies would inevitably develop electromagnetic communication systems. However, this methodology may reflect a fundamental predisposition towards recognizing technologies that mirror our own developmental trajectory. An advanced civilization possessing the capacity to dispatch probes between star systems would likely command technologies far beyond our current comprehension. Such probes might not announce their presence through radio transmissions or other electromagnetic signatures. Instead, they might be engaged in acquiring information about distant worlds while endeavoring to remain as inconspicuous as possible to evade detection by potentially adversarial civilizations. This concept resonates with what science fiction author Leo Chikshin popularized as the dark forest hypothesis in his acclaimed novel of the same name. According to this theory, the apparent scarcity of detectable alien civilizations in our galaxy might stem not from their non-existence, but from their deliberate concealment. In a cosmos where the intentions of alien civilizations cannot be known in advance, the most prudent strategy for any technological society might be to remain hidden while meticulously observing potential neighbors. The dark forest hypothesis posits that any alien probe visiting our solar system would be engineered to closely mimic natural phenomena. A sophisticated reconnaissance mission might deliberately adopt the appearance and behavior of a comet or asteroid to circumvent triggering defensive responses from the civilizations it was studying. Only through meticulous analysis might subtle anomalies revealing the object's artificial nature become apparent. From this viewpoint, the unusual characteristics of 3 Atlas assume more unsettling implications. Its precise trajectory could represent deliberate navigation designed to optimize observation opportunities. Its considerable size might accommodate advanced sensor arrays and communication equipment. Its apparent stability could indicate active guidance systems, working to maintain an optimal course despite natural perturbations. But perhaps most concerning is the timing of 3I Atlas and its ultimate destination within our solar system. The object's current trajectory will carry it behind the Sun in late October of the year 2025, creating a period of several weeks during which it will be entirely unobservable from Earth. This solar occultation presents an ideal window for any hypothetical guidance systems to alter the object's course without detection. Military space surveillance experts, whose capabilities extend far beyond those accessible to civilian astronomers, would be acutely aware of the strategic ramifications of this scenario. Advanced space tracking networks, developed during the Cold War to monitor satellite movements and missile launches, could potentially detect course corrections that civilian telescopes might overlook. However, even the most sophisticated Earth-based sensors have limitations when observing objects on the far side of the Sun. The apprehension among defense analysts would center on what might transpire when 3 Atlas reemerges from behind the Sun in late November. If the object adheres to its predicted trajectory, continuing on its hyperbolic path toward interstellar space, then the mystery would likely remain an academic curiosity. But if observations reveal any deviation from the expected course, particularly any change that might bring the object closer to Earth, then the implications would be profound. This scenario would elucidate the unprecedented military gathering convened by Defense Secretary Hegsth in September of the year 2025. The timing of this assembly, occurring merely weeks before 3I Atlas disappears behind the Sun, suggests that military planners were formulating contingency responses for a variety of potential outcomes. The comprehensive nature of this meeting, Bringing together virtually every senior commander in the American military signifies preparation for scenarios that could impact global security. The classified deliberations at Quantico would have encompassed a spectrum of possibilities, from the most optimistic interpretation of 3 Atlas as a remarkable yet harmless natural phenomenon to the most alarming scenarios involving hostile alien technology. Military planners excel at preparing for low-probability but high-consequence events, and a potentially artificial interstellar object would certainly qualify for such consideration. However, the Pentagon's response to 3 Atlas must also be understood within the broader context of recent developments in how the American military approaches unexplained aerial phenomena. The establishment of the Old Domain Anomaly Resolution Office in the year 2022 marked a significant shift towards more serious investigation of unusual sightings that might previously have been dismissed or disregarded. This institutional change reflects a growing recognition that advancements in sensor technologies have made it increasingly difficult to dismiss anomalous observations as equipment malfunctions or observer error. High-resolution cameras, sophisticated radar systems, and automated detection networks generate vast quantities of data that can reveal phenomena invisible to human observers. When multiple independent systems detect the same anomalous behavior, the likelihood of measurement error diminishes while the significance of the observations escalates. The same technological capabilities that enable the detection of subtle anomalies in aerial phenomena also facilitate the detailed analysis of interstellar visitors like 3 Atlas. Space-based telescopes, ground-based observatories, and military tracking systems can gather unprecedented amounts of data about such objects, revealing characteristics that would have been completely imperceptible to earlier generations of astronomers. This enhanced observational capacity presents both opportunities and challenges for those tasked with assessing potential threats. The ability to detect anomalies that might indicate an artificial origin comes with the responsibility to determine appropriate responses when such anomalies are discovered. The scientific method necessitates careful verification and peer review before accepting extraordinary claims. However, national security considerations may demand preparation for extraordinary possibilities before scientific consensus is achieved. The tension between these approaches becomes evident in the public discourse surrounding 3 Atlas. Mainstream astronomical institutions, including NASA and the European Space Agency, have emphasized observations that support the conventional interpretation of the object as a natural comet. Press releases and official statements highlight the detection of water vapor and carbon dioxide, substances consistent with typical cometary composition. Nevertheless, these same institutions are actively studying the object. The object's size, trajectory, and behavior do distinguish it from previous interstellar visitors in ways that warrant careful analysis. The ongoing observations by multiple space telescopes represent significant investments of time and resources, suggesting that even conservative scientific institutions recognize the importance of thoroughly characterizing this unusual visitor. The challenge for external observers, whether in the military, media, or general public, lies in interpreting the measured language of official scientific communication. When NASA describes 3 Atlas as exhibiting typical cometary behavior while concurrently conducting unprecedented multi-telescope observation campaigns, the apparent contradiction reflects the inherent caution of scientific institutions when dealing with potentially paradigm-shifting discoveries. This caution extends to the peer review process that governs scientific publication. Dr. Lowe's papers suggesting an artificial origin for interstellar objects face intense scrutiny from reviewers who, quite reasonably, demand extraordinary evidence for extraordinary claims. The result is often a delay between initial observations of anomalous phenomena and the publication of studies that might support unconventional interpretations. However, military intelligence analysts operate under different constraints and timelines than academic researchers. While scientists can afford to wait months or even years for definitive evidence, defense planners must assess threats and develop responses based on incomplete information. The possibility that 3 Atlas represents alien technology, however remote, would necessitate immediate attention from those responsible for national security. This disparity in operational timelines helps explain why the Quantico meeting occurred in September rather than awaiting more definitive scientific conclusions about 3 Atlas. By the time peer-reviewed studies definitively establish the object's nature, it will have vanished from our solar system forever. Any defensive preparations or diplomatic initiatives must be formulated and implemented while the object remains observable and potentially accessible. The international dimensions of the 3 Atlas mystery introduce further complexity to any military response. Interstellar objects belong to no single nation and pose potential risks to all of humanity. Traditional notions of territorial sovereignty and national defense become inconsequential when confronting threats that operate on cosmic scales. Yet, the response to 3 Atlas, at least as evidenced by the American military meeting, appears to be primarily national in scope. This disconnect between the global nature of potential space-based threats and the national character of defense responses reflects deeper challenges in international cooperation on space security matters. Despite decades of collaboration on scientific space missions, military and intelligence capabilities in space remain closely guarded national assets. The sensors and analytical techniques that could definitively establish the nature of 3 Atlas are often classified technologies that nations are reluctant to share, even with close allies. The outcome is a fragmented response to phenomena that might represent the most significant development in human history. If 3 Atlas is indeed an alien probe, then its mission encompasses the entirety of Earth and all of humanity. However, our response is constrained by political boundaries and institutional rivalries that may appear absurdly provincial from the perspective of interstellar visitors. These considerations would have weighed heavily on the minds of the military leaders assembled at Quantico in September of the year 2025. Their classified briefings would have addressed not only the technical aspects of the 3Y Atlas enigma, but also the diplomatic and strategic challenges of coordinating responses to potential extraterrestrial contact. The unprecedented nature of such a scenario would necessitate new protocols, new institutions, and new forms of international cooperation. The secrecy surrounding the Quantico meeting reflects both legitimate security concerns and the profound uncertainty regarding how to communicate with the public about possibilities that sound like science fiction but might represent scientific fact. How does one prepare a population for the possibility of alien contact without inducing panic or eroding confidence in scientific institutions? How does one balance transparency with operational security when dealing with scenarios that lack historical precedent? This also brings into consideration the potential reactions of other nations to American military preparations for alien contact scenarios. Would such preparations be perceived as defensive measures or as attempts to gain a strategic advantage from potential alien technologies? Would international partners demand inclusion in planning processes, or would they develop independent response capabilities? The global implications of the 3 Atlas mystery extend beyond immediate security concerns to encompass fundamental questions about humanity's future in a potentially populated galaxy. If this interstellar visitor represents our first confirmed encounter with alien technology, it would herald the dawn of a new epoch in human history. An era in which we must consider our actions not merely in terms of terrestrial consequences, but within the context of our relationship with a broader cosmic community. However, even if 3 proves to be entirely natural, its discovery has already begun to alter our perception of interstellar phenomena and our place within the universe. The statistical improbabilities surrounding its characteristics serve as a reminder of how little we comprehend about the prevalence and nature of interstellar travelers. The possibility that advanced alien probes might be indistinguishable from natural objects compels us to reevaluate our assumptions about how we would recognize contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. As 3 Atlas continues its approach toward the inner solar system, these questions become increasingly pressing. The object will reach its closest proximity to the Sun in late October, at which point the window for detailed observation will begin to narrow. The data gathered during these critical weeks may determine whether this narrative becomes a fascinating chapter in astronomical history or the inaugural page of an entirely new chapter in human civilization. To comprehend the explosive controversy surrounding 3I Atlas, we must first understand the man whose theories have transformed this astronomical discovery into a potential paradigm shift. Dr. Abraham Avey stands as one of the most prominent and polarizing figures in modern astrophysics, a Harvard professor whose willingness to entertain extraterrestrial explanations for cosmic anomalies has garnered him both international acclaim and vehement criticism from his scientific peers. The path of Avi Loeb toward exploring the possibility of alien probes commenced not with the later arrival of oumuamua, but rather its precursor, the enigmatic celestial visitor designated oumuamua. Discovered in October of 2017, this elongated, cigar-shaped entity immediately seized the attention of the scientific community, marking the inaugural confirmed interstellar object to traverse our solar neighborhood. However, as astrophysicists delved deeper into the characteristics of oumuamua, they encountered a series of perplexing attributes that defied conventional understanding. The most perplexing anomaly was oumuamua's unexpected acceleration as it receded from the Sun. Naturally occurring comets often exhibit similar behavior, attributed to outgassing, the release of vapor as solar radiation heats their surfaces, generating a propulsive effect akin to miniature rocket engines. Yet, oumuamua displayed no observable signs of such outgassing, lacking the characteristic tail or coma typically associated with comets, yet it undeniably accelerated. This non-gravitational acceleration suggested either an unusual internal composition or some form of active propulsion. While the majority of astronomers proposed increasingly unconventional naturalistic explanations for oumuamua's behavior, ranging from compositions of nitrogen ice to flattened, disk-like geometries, Loeb adopted a markedly different perspective. In his 2018 publication in the Astrophysical Journal Letters, co-authored with postdoctoral researcher Shmuel Bali, Loeb posited that oumuamua's observed traits were consistent with a light sail, a propulsion system that harnesses stellar radiation pressure for thrust. The paper was meticulously crafted and scientifically rigorous, presenting the hypothesis of an artificial origin as one among several potential explanations for oumuamua's anomalous trajectory. Nevertheless, the implications were revolutionary. If oumuamua was indeed an artifact, it would represent humanity's inaugural confirmed encounter with extraterrestrial technology, a discovery that would profoundly reshape our perception of our place in the cosmos. The scientific establishment's reaction was swift and predominantly unfavorable. Peers criticized Loeb for championing what they deemed unsubstantiated conjecture. Some suggested his inclination to consider extraterrestrial possibilities reflected flawed scientific judgment or a pursuit of media notoriety. The dispute escalated when Loeb elaborated on his arguments in his 2021 book, Extraterrestrial: The First Sign of Intelligent Life Beyond Earth, which presented his case to a broader audience. Undeterred by the criticism, Loeb maintained his position. In interviews and public lectures, he contended that the scientific community's reticence to explore such possibilities stemmed from intellectual conservatism, potentially hindering the recognition of genuine alien contact. He highlighted that the statistical methodologies employed in discovering new particles in physics experiments could be adapted to the search for extraterrestrial artifacts, provided scientists remained receptive to unconventional ideas. This philosophical inclination towards scientific inquiry is deeply ingrained in Loeb's background and career. A native of Israel with a background in theoretical physics, Loeb has made significant contributions to our comprehension of cosmology, black holes, and the nascent universe. His academic credentials are unimpeachable, boasting over 700 published papers and numerous prestigious affiliations, including his tenure as the founding director of Harvard's Black Hole Initiative and his former chairmanship of the university's astronomy department. Loeb's established scientific reputation lends considerable weight to his controversial theories regarding interstellar objects. Unlike fringe researchers operating outside mainstream academic circles, Loeb speaks from a position of established authority within the astronomical community. His willingness to jeopardize that reputation by advocating for extraterrestrial hypotheses indicates either profound conviction in his findings or a remarkable confidence in his capacity to withstand professional censure. The appearance of 3I/2025 oumuamua in July of 2025 provided Loeb with an opportunity to test and refine his methodology for identifying potential alien technology. Drawing upon the lessons learned from the oumuamua controversy, Loeb began scrutinizing the characteristics of 3I/2025 oumuamua with a specific focus on those that might distinguish artificial constructs from natural celestial bodies. His approach integrated rigorous statistical analysis with a systematic consideration of alternative explanations, disseminating his findings through popular media. Loeb's initial evaluation of 3I/2025 oumuamua centered on the same types of anomalies that had initially drawn his attention to oumuamua. The object's unusual dimensions, precise trajectory, and apparent stability all suggested attributes consistent with an engineered probe rather than random cosmic detritus. However, Loeb extended his analysis further, developing what he termed a comprehensive framework for assessing potential extraterrestrial technology in space. This framework, detailed in a series of blog posts on Medium and academic preprints, outlines specific criteria for differentiating between natural phenomena and potential artificial objects. Key indicators include statistical improbabilities in the circumstances of discovery, behavioral anomalies that resist conventional scientific explanations, and trajectory characteristics that might imply intelligent direction rather than random gravitational influences. When applied to 3I/2025 oumuamua, These criteria present a disquieting picture. The statistical likelihood of discovering such a substantial interstellar object by chance is exceedingly low. The object's trajectory, aligning with our planetary system, defies the expected behavior of randomly ejected debris. Its apparent stability, despite indications of cometary activity, suggests the possibility of active guidance systems. Individually, each anomaly might be attributed to exotic but natural processes. Collectively, however, they form a pattern that Loeb argues is more congruent with an artificial origin than cosmic happenstance. Loeb's analysis extends beyond mere anomaly detection, encompassing broader strategic considerations regarding potential alien reconnaissance. Drawing from concepts in military intelligence and game theory, he proposes that any advanced civilization capable of interstellar travel would likely approach unknown star systems with extreme caution. The universe, he suggests, may harbor civilizations whose intentions are indeterminate, making stealthy reconnaissance the optimal strategy for gathering intelligence on potential neighbors. This line of reasoning leads to what Loeb terms the dark forest interpretation of interstellar visitor behavior. Named after Liu Cixin's science fiction novel, the dark forest hypothesis posits that advanced civilizations remain concealed due to the existence of predatory species within the cosmos that eliminate any civilization they detect. In such an environment, any alien probe would be engineered to mimic natural phenomena while covertly collecting intelligence on target worlds. The implications of this hypothesis are profound and unsettling. If 3I/2025 oumuamua represents such a probe, its mission would likely involve a thorough assessment of Earth's technological capabilities, defensive infrastructure, and potential vulnerabilities to various forms of aggression. Its trajectory, enabling close proximity to multiple planets, would offer optimal observation opportunities. Furthermore, its seemingly natural appearance would minimize the risk of detection and defensive responses. Loeb has been judicious in presenting these scenarios as speculative possibilities rather than definitive conclusions. His academic training and professional standing necessitate the maintenance of appropriate scientific skepticism, even while advocating for the consideration of extraordinary explanations. However, his public communications, particularly through social media and popular interviews, frequently emphasize the more dramatic ramifications of his theories. This communication strategy has generated substantial public interest in 3I/2025 oumuamua, while simultaneously intensifying criticism from his astronomical peers. Some researchers assert that Loeb's willingness to discuss speculative scenarios in public forums erodes scientific credibility and fosters misconceptions about the nature of astronomical research. Others argue that his media presence helps secure public funding for space science by highlighting its relevance to humanity's cosmic context. The controversy surrounding Loeb's theories reflects broader tensions within the scientific community concerning the balance between open-minded inquiry and appropriate skepticism when confronted with potentially paradigm-altering discoveries. The history of scientific advancement is replete with examples of revolutionary ideas initially rejected by mainstream researchers, only to be later accepted as accurate descriptions of natural phenomena. Conversely, countless speculative theories, initially embraced with enthusiasm by their proponents, have ultimately proven incorrect. The challenge in evaluating Loeb's claims about 3I/2025 oumuamua lies in discerning between genuine scientific revolution and wishful thinking regarding extraterrestrial contact. The statistical anomalies he identifies are indeed real and corroborated by multiple independent observations. The behavioral characteristics that puzzle him are acknowledged even by researchers who favor conventional explanations. The central question remains: do these anomalies warrant consideration of extraterrestrial technology, or do they simply signify gaps in our understanding of natural interstellar object behavior? Part of the difficulty arises from the inherent limitations of observational astronomy when dealing with unique phenomena. Unlike laboratory sciences, where experiments can be replicated and controlled, astronomical observations of objects like 3I/2025 oumuamua are essentially irreproducible. The object will traverse our solar system once and never return, affording only a brief window for data acquisition before vanishing irrevocably into the cosmic expanse. This temporal constraint means that a definitive resolution of the 3I/2025 oumuamua mystery may be unattainable through traditional scientific methods. The object will either conform to predictions based on natural comet models or deviate in ways that might support more unconventional explanations. However, even significant deviations from expected behavior could potentially be explained through previously unknown natural processes rather than artificial origins. Loeb acknowledges these limitations while asserting that they render precautionary approaches more, not less, justifiable. If there exists even a marginal possibility that 3I/2025 oumuamua represents alien technology, the potential repercussions of disregarding that possibility far outweigh the risks of taking it seriously. From this vantage point, the burden of proof should favor caution over dismissal when confronting potentially existential scenarios. This philosophical stance aligns with decision-making frameworks employed in other high-stakes domains, including national security, public health, and environmental protection. When confronted with low-probability, high-consequence risks, rational actors often opt for investment in preparation and mitigation, even when the likelihood of the risk materializing remains uncertain. The same rationale that justifies preparedness for rare but catastrophic natural disasters might also endorse preparedness for possible extraterrestrial contact. Military and intelligence analysts tasked with assessing the 3I/2025 oumuamua phenomenon would almost certainly apply comparable risk assessment frameworks. While scientists can afford to await definitive evidence before embracing extraordinary claims, defense planners must consider worst-case scenarios and formulate appropriate responses even when those scenarios remain speculative. The possibility that Loeb's theories are accurate, however remote, would necessitate serious consideration from those responsible for national security. This underscores why Loeb's academic credentials and institutional affiliations carry particular weight in policy circles. His standing as a Harvard professor and a respected researcher lends him a credibility that would be absent if similar theories were advanced by individuals operating outside established scientific institutions. Government officials evaluating potential threats can cite Loeb's expertise and reputation as justification for taking his concerns seriously, even if those concerns are disputed by other experts. The international dimensions of Loeb's theories introduce further complexity to their policy implications. If 3I/2025 oumuamua is indeed an alien probe, its mission would encompass all of humanity rather than any single nation. The appropriate response would mandate unprecedented international cooperation, potentially including the sharing of sensitive military and intelligence capabilities. However, Loeb's theories originate within American academic institutions and have garnered the most attention from American media and policymakers. This geographic concentration of concern regarding 3I/2025 oumuamua reflects broader patterns in how scientific discoveries are communicated and interpreted across diverse national contexts. While the underlying astronomical observations are accessible to researchers globally, the theoretical frameworks used to interpret those observations may be influenced by cultural and institutional factors that vary between countries. Loeb's emphasis on potential threats and defensive preparations resonates particularly strongly within American academic and policy communities that have long grappled with questions of national security in an uncertain world. His theories offer a cosmic extension of familiar strategic concerns regarding unknown adversaries and asymmetric threats. Conversely, researchers in other nations might approach the same observational data from different theoretical perspectives, emphasizing cooperation over competition or scientific curiosity over security imperatives. These cultural divergences in interpreting ambiguous phenomena become particularly significant when they influence governmental policies and resource allocation decisions. If American military leaders accord Loeb's theory sufficient seriousness to convene unprecedented gatherings of senior officers, while their counterparts in other nations dismiss the same theories as speculative fiction, the outcome could be divergent national responses to a phenomenon that might affect all of humankind. The evolution of Loeb's public persona, from esteemed academic researcher to controversial advocate for alien contact hypotheses, also mirrors broader transformations in how scientific communication functions in the digital age. Traditional models of scientific publishing and peer review, designed for specialized academic audiences, may prove inadequate for addressing discoveries that possess immediate policy relevance or that challenge fundamental assumptions about humanity's cosmic standing. Loeb's utilization of social media platforms, popular books, and media interviews to convey his theories directly to public audiences represents an alternative model of scientific communication that circumvents traditional gatekeeping mechanisms. This approach facilitates more rapid dissemination of ideas and more direct engagement with policymakers and the general public. However, it also diminishes the quality control traditionally provided by peer review processes and may foster misunderstandings of complex scientific concepts. The tension between these communication models becomes apparent in the professional criticism that Loeb has faced from his astronomical colleagues. Many researchers contend that his willingness to discuss speculative theories in popular forums undermines the careful, incremental approach to knowledge building that characterizes effective scientific research. They express concern that public enthusiasm for dramatic possibilities, such as alien contact, might skew funding priorities and research trajectories in ways that ultimately impede rather than advance scientific understanding. Loeb, however, counters that traditional scientific communication mechanisms are ill-suited for addressing discoveries that might have immediate practical implications for human civilization. If 3I/2025 oumuamua truly represents alien technology, delaying peer-reviewed confirmation for months or even years could result in the forfeiture of critical opportunities for preparation or response. The potential consequences of such delays might justify accepting higher risks of error or misunderstanding in exchange for more expedited information dissemination. This debate regarding appropriate scientific communication strategies unfolds against the backdrop of broader societal shifts that have altered how expertise and authority are perceived and evaluated. The same digital technologies that enable direct communication between researchers and public audiences also facilitate the proliferation of misinformation and conspiracy theories that erode confidence in scientific institutions. In such an environment, the distinction between legitimate scientific speculation and unfounded conspiracy thinking may become blurred in public discourse. Loeb's theories concerning 3I/2025 oumuamua occupy an ambiguous position within this evolving landscape of scientific communication and public comprehension. His academic credentials and meticulous presentation of evidence distinguish his work from typical conspiracy theories about alien contact. However, his willingness to entertain extraordinary explanations and communicate directly with public audiences elicits criticism from colleagues concerned about the broader ramifications for scientific credibility. The ultimate resolution of this tension may hinge on whether 3I/2025 oumuamua yields definitive evidence supporting or refuting Loeb's theories. Should the object exhibit unambiguous signs of artificial origin or deviate dramatically from natural comet behavior, Loeb's foresight in considering extraterrestrial explanations will appear prescient and scientifically vindicated. If, however, it proves entirely natural despite its unusual characteristics, his speculative approach may be remembered as an instance where even accomplished researchers were swayed by enthusiasm for dramatic possibilities. Regardless of how the mystery of 3I/2025 oumuamua is ultimately resolved, Loeb's theories have already begun to shape how scientists, policymakers, and the general public contemplate the possibility of alien contact and the criteria we might employ to recognize it. His framework for evaluating potential artificial objects in space offers a systematic approach to questions previously confined to the realm of science fiction. His emphasis on statistical anomalies and behavioral analysis provides tools that could be applied to future interstellar visitors. Perhaps most significantly, Loeb's work has contributed to establishing the intellectual respectability of considering extraterrestrial explanations for astronomical anomalies. While such considerations were once relegated to the periphery of scientific discourse, his academic stature and meticulous methodology have brought them into mainstream scholarly discussion. Whether this signifies healthy open-mindedness or perilous speculation may depend on perspectives that extend far beyond the specific case of 3I/2025 oumuamua, to encompass fundamental questions about the nature of scientific inquiry and the appropriate response to cosmic enigmas that challenge our understanding of reality itself. The trajectory of 3I/2025 oumuamua through our solar system can be likened to a masterclass in celestial mechanics. However, it also tells a story that makes astrophysicists uneasy and military planners lose sleep. To grasp why this particular path through space has elicited such intense scrutiny, we must explore the fundamental principles governing the movement of objects through gravitational fields and the reasons why the course followed by 3I/2025 oumuamua appears to contravene the basic assumptions of random interstellar travel. When an object embarks on a journey between star systems, it carries with it the gravitational imprint of its point of origin, the speed and bearing it acquired during its expulsion from its home system, in conjunction with the gravitational forces it encounters over millennia of interstellar transit, dictate its behavior upon finally approaching another stellar system. According to simulations devised by scientists at the Max Planck Institute for Astronomy, the overwhelming majority of interstellar travelers should arrive at alien star systems from virtually random directions, following paths that exhibit no discernible link to the orbital characteristics of planets within their target systems. This expectation is founded upon well-established tenets of stellar dynamics and galactic architecture. When gravitational interactions eject an object from its nascent system, typically through close proximity with massive planets or stellar companions, the resulting trajectory is contingent upon the specific spatial arrangement of the ejection event. Because these occurrences transpire randomly throughout the cosmos, devoid of any coordination or communication between disparate stellar systems, the directions from which interstellar visitors originate should appear essentially random from the vantage point of any particular destination system. 3IOU violates this fundamental expectation in ways that carry profound implications for our comprehension of its origin and purpose. Rather than approaching our solar system from some arbitrary vector in three-dimensional space, this object arrived along a trajectory precisely aligned within the ecliptic plane, the same orbital path followed by planets in our solar system. The probability of such exact alignment occurring by chance has been computed by multiple independent research groups, with results that consistently challenge conventional assumptions about random cosmic phenomena. Dr. Marco McCoo of the European Space Agency's Space Situational Awareness Program has conducted some of the most exhaustive trajectory analyses of 3IOU, utilizing data from terrestrial observatories and spaceborne instruments. According to his calculations, published in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, the likelihood of a randomly ejected interstellar object arriving with such exact ecliptic alignment is approximately 0.05%, or 1 chance in 2000. However, the statistical improbability becomes even more pronounced when we consider the specific planets that 3IOU will encounter during its passage through our solar system. Instead of following a path that might bring it into proximity with one or two worlds by chance, this object's course has been meticulously plotted to afford optimal observation opportunities for Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, 3 planets representing fundamentally distinct types of celestial bodies within our solar system. Venus exemplifies the runaway greenhouse effect, with surface temperatures so extreme they can melt lead and atmospheric pressures 90 times greater than Earth's. Mars, conversely, represents a formerly habitable world that lost its dense atmosphere and liquid water billions of years ago. Jupiter exemplifies the gas giant category, colossal worlds composed predominantly of hydrogen and helium that may harbor intricate atmospheric chemistry and potentially life-supporting moons. From the perspective of a hypothetical alien civilization conducting a systematic survey of our solar system, these 3 worlds would furnish critical data points for understanding the spectrum of planetary environments present in our cosmic vicinity. Venus would illustrate the consequences of unchecked greenhouse warming. Mars would reveal the long-term evolutionary trajectory of terrestrial planets under varied conditions. Jupiter would showcase the characteristics of gas giants and their extensive satellite systems. The trajectory that brings 3IOU close to all 3 of these representative worlds, while maintaining precise alignment with the ecliptic plane, constitutes what orbital mechanics specialists term an optimal survey trajectory. Such paths are familiar to spacecraft mission designers who orchestrate interplanetary tours that maximize scientific returns by visiting multiple objectives during a single expedition. The Voyager spacecraft, launched in the 1970s, followed similar multi-planet trajectories that capitalized on rare planetary conjunctions to visit Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune during extended Grand Tour missions. However, the design of such trajectories necessitates intricate knowledge of planetary positions, gravitational fields, and orbital mechanics. Natural objects ejected indiscriminately from distant star systems would not possess such awareness or exhibit such navigational precision. The fact that 3IOU appears to be executing an optimal survey route through our solar system gives rise to disquieting questions regarding whether its trajectory is the product of coincidence or deliberate planning. Dr. David Finocchia of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, who directs the Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, has acknowledged these trajectory anomalies while underscoring that extraordinary claims demand extraordinary substantiation. In interviews with Scientific American, Finocchia observed that while the ecliptic alignment of 3IOU is statistically unusual, it falls within the spectrum of possibilities anticipated from random processes over cosmic timescales. Nevertheless, Finocchia's analysis also discloses additional trajectory characteristics that intensify the enigma surrounding 3IOU. Unlike conventional comets, which exhibit increasingly erratic behavior as solar heating triggers irregular outgassing from their surfaces, 3IOU has maintained remarkable steadiness in its predicted path. This stability suggests either an unusual internal composition that minimizes outgassing effects or the presence of some mechanism that actively counteracts natural perturbations. The ramifications of active trajectory correction become particularly significant when we consider the timing of 3IOU and its approach to solar conjunction. The object's current trajectory will carry it behind the Sun in late October of the year 2025, creating a period of several weeks during which it will be entirely undetectable by Earth-based telescopes. This solar occultation presents an ideal window for hypothetical course adjustments that could alter the object's trajectory without detection. Military strategists are better equipped than most civilian astronomers to grasp the strategic implications of this scenario. Advanced tracking systems developed during the Cold War to monitor satellite movements and ballistic missile launches have repeatedly demonstrated that minor course corrections applied at opportune moments can yield substantial shifts in the ultimate trajectory. A probe equipped with even modest propulsion capabilities could leverage the solar occultation period to reorient itself toward Earth while remaining imperceptible to terrestrial observers. The principles of orbital mechanics render this possibility particularly concerning. Objects traversing the inner solar system can utilize gravitational assist from planets to augment or diminish their velocity with minimal energy expenditure. The same techniques employed by human spacecraft to reach distant worlds could be utilized by hypothetical alien probes to modify their trajectories for purposes yet unknown. 3IOU will pass sufficiently close to Venus and Mars to potentially execute such gravitational assist maneuvers if its trajectory were under intelligent control. These concerns have not escaped the notice of researchers who study potential asteroid and comet impacts with Earth. The Planetary Defense Coordination Office at NASA headquarters maintains detailed simulations of how various trajectory modifications could redirect incoming objects toward collision courses with our planet. While 3IOU currently poses no impact threat, minor alterations to its velocity or direction during the solar occultation period could potentially revise that assessment. Dr. Lindley Johnson, NASA's Planetary Defense Officer, has emphasized in public statements that 3IOU follows a trajectory that will keep it safely distant from Earth throughout its passage through our solar system. However, Johnson's office also possesses classified capabilities for tracking and analyzing potential threats that extend far beyond those accessible to civilian research institutions. The full extent of military and intelligence surveillance of 3IOU remains undisclosed to public observers. The convergence of civilian astronomical observations with military space surveillance capabilities engenders complex questions concerning information dissemination and threat assessment when confronting potentially anomalous objects such as 3IOU. Terrestrial telescopes operated by universities and international organizations furnish detailed spectroscopic and photometric data regarding the object's composition and behavior. Conversely, space-based sensors operated by military and intelligence agencies may possess capabilities for detecting characteristics invisible to civilian instruments. This technological disparity becomes particularly significant when evaluating assertions of a potential artificial origin for 3IOU. The sensors requisite for detecting subtle indicators of engineered structures or active propulsion systems might constitute classified technologies unavailable to civilian researchers. If such evidence exists, it would likely be subjected to analysis through intelligence channels rather than published in academic journals, thereby creating an information deficit between public scientific discourse and classified threat assessments. The historical precedent for this kind of information compartmentalization exists within prior military investigations of anomalous aerial phenomena. Project Blue Book and its precursors demonstrated that governmental agencies frequently possess sensor data and analytical capabilities that far surpass those available to civilian researchers studying the same phenomena. The recent revelation of military encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena through official Pentagon reports suggests that analogous information gaps may persist regarding anomalous space objects. However, the trajectory analysis of 3IOU also elicits broader questions concerning the frequency and characteristics of interstellar visitors that may have evaded detection in prior decades. Current detection capabilities, while impressive by historical benchmarks, remain constrained to objects that attain sufficient luminosity to trigger automated survey systems. Smaller or dimmer objects could easily traverse our solar system unnoticed, particularly if they maintain trajectories that keep them distant from Earth and major planets. The Advanced Surveillance and Tracking of Asteroids and Comets, or the ASTRA program operated jointly by NASA and the Department of Defense, maintains classified catalogs of objects detected by military space surveillance networks. According to congressional testimony by program officials, These catalogs contain thousands of entries for objects that have not been publicly disclosed due to national security imperatives. Some of these objects may represent natural phenomena that coincidentally follow sensitive orbital paths. Others might exhibit characteristics analogous to those that render 3IOU so contentious. The possibility that 3IOU represents not an isolated anomaly, but rather the inaugural publicly detected member of a larger populace of unusual interstellar visitors, has profound implications for our understanding of galactic dynamics and potential extraterrestrial activities. If advanced civilizations routinely dispatch reconnaissance probes to survey proximate star systems, then our solar system might be visited far more frequently than the discovery rate of confirmed interstellar objects would indicate. This scenario aligns with theoretical predictions regarding the behavior of advanced technological civilizations developed by researchers within the search for extraterrestrial intelligence community. Dr. Seth Shostak of the SETI Institute has posited that any civilization capable of interstellar travel would likely conduct systematic surveys of neighboring star systems to identify potentially habitable worlds and assess the technological sophistication of any indigenous civilizations they might encounter. Such surveys would necessitate sophisticated probe designs optimized for clandestine reconnaissance rather than overt communication with target civilizations. The probes would need to mimic natural phenomena to evade detection while amassing detailed information about planetary characteristics, atmospheric composition, and evidence of technological activity. The optimal strategy would involve multiple visits over extended durations to monitor developments and changes within target systems. The physical attributes of 3IOU begin to coalesce into a coherent pattern consistent with advanced reconnaissance technology. Its substantial size could accommodate sophisticated sensor arrays and communication equipment. Its precise trajectory would optimize observation opportunities while minimizing detection risks. Its apparent stability would reflect active guidance systems engineered to maintain optimal positioning throughout its mission. The timing of 3IOU's approach also aligns with what might be anticipated from systematic alien surveillance of humanity. The object would have commenced its voyage toward our solar system millennia ago, when human technological development was accelerating but had not yet reached a stage where it might pose a threat to visiting probes. Its arrival in 2025 coincides with humanity's emergence as a spacefaring civilization capable of detecting and potentially intercepting interstellar visitors. If 3IOU is indeed an alien probe, its mission timeline would reflect meticulous planning predicated on projections of human technological advancement. The probe would arrive at a juncture when humans had developed sufficient astronomical capabilities to discern its presence. However, before human space technology had advanced to a point where interception might be feasible, this timing would permit detailed observation of human capabilities while preserving the probe's safety and operational integrity. The strategic implications of such a scenario extend far beyond academic fascination with alien civilizations to encompass humanity's security and future within a potentially populated galaxy. If 3IOU represents reconnaissance preceding more direct contact or intervention, then its observations of human technological prowess, military preparedness, and international cooperation would furnish critical intelligence for whatever actions might ensue. These possibilities would elucidate the unprecedented military response evidenced by the September 2025 gathering at Quantico. Defense Secretary Hegseth would be compelled to contemplate scenarios ranging from amicable diplomatic engagement to more assertive interventions by civilizations possessing superior capabilities. The comprehensive nature of the military assembly suggests preparedness for contingencies that could impact global security and human survival. Nevertheless, the trajectory analysis of 3IOU also exposes the limitations of current human capabilities in responding to potential interstellar threats. Even if the object is determined to be under intelligent control, human technology lacks the capacity to intercept or communicate with it during its transit through our solar system. Our most advanced spacecraft would require months or years to reach trajectories that might intersect with 3IOU. Furthermore, even then, the encounter velocities would preclude meaningful interaction. This technological disparity underscores humanity's vulnerability to activities undertaken by advanced civilizations capable of interstellar travel. We can detect and observe such visitors, but we cannot effectively counter them or influence their actions within our own solar system. This asymmetry in capabilities would place human civilization at a significant disadvantage in any prospective conflict or negotiation with extraterrestrial visitors. The recognition of such vulnerabilities might justify the kind of comprehensive military planning suggested by the Quantico meeting. Even if a direct response to 3IOU proves impossible, Its presence could catalyze the development of novel space-based detection and response capabilities that might prove indispensable for managing future visitors. The object serves as a stark reminder of humanity's constrained ability to monitor and safeguard our cosmic environs. The mathematical precision required to achieve the trajectory executed by 3IOU becomes even more remarkable when one considers the three-dimensional complexity of interstellar navigation. Objects expelled from distant star systems must traverse a galaxy replete with gravitational influences from billions of stars, concentrations of dark matter, and the intricate dynamics of spiral arms and stellar streams. The fact that any object could travel for millions of years through such a chaotic medium and arrive at our solar system with such precise alignment suggests either unparalleled cosmic serendipity or guidance systems of extraordinary sophistication. Dr. Catherine Zucker of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics has undertaken detailed analyses of the galactic environment through which 3IOU must have journeyed from its presumed origin system. Employing data from the European Space Agency's Gaia mission, which has meticulously mapped the positions and movements of over 1 billion stars in our galaxy, Zucker's team has reconstructed the gravitational landscape that would have influenced the object's trajectory over cosmic timescales. Their analysis reveals a complex network of stellar encounters, spiral arm traversals, and density variations that should have repeatedly deflected any natural interstellar traveler from its original course during its journey. The probability that an object could maintain the precise velocity and direction necessary to achieve the ecliptic alignment observed for 3IOU while navigating through millions of years of such gravitational perturbations approaches mathematical impossibility through natural processes alone. This finding has prompted further analysis by researchers at the International Astronomical Union's Commission on Astrometry, who specialize in the precise measurement of celestial object positions and movements. Their preliminary calculations, presented at the 2025 General Assembly in Cape Town, indicate that maintaining the trajectory exhibited by 3IOU would necessitate periodic course corrections with a precision that surpasses the capabilities of current human space technology by several orders of magnitude. The implications extend beyond mere navigation to encompass inquiries about the propulsion systems that might facilitate such precision. Conventional chemical rockets, akin to those employed in human spacecraft, consume prodigious quantities of fuel and generate detectable exhaust signatures that would be observable by sensitive instruments across interstellar distances. Any probe capable of executing the subtle course corrections required to maintain the 3IOU trajectory would need to utilize propulsion technologies that operate without producing discernible waste products. Theoretical possibilities include ion drives powered by nuclear reactors, solar sails that harness radiation pressure for propulsion, or more esoteric technologies based on the manipulation of gravitational fields or the very fabric of space-time geometry. Each of these approaches would demand engineering capabilities representing significant advancements beyond current human technology, suggesting that any civilization capable of constructing such probes would possess scientific understanding far exceeding our own. The energy requirements for interstellar travel add another dimension of complexity to any assessment of 3IOU as a potential alien artifact. Propelling even a modest payload to the velocities necessary for reasonable interstellar transit durations necessitates energy reserves on par with the aggregate annual output of major power generation facilities. Maintaining such voyages across the millennia required to reach distant star systems would mandate either revolutionary advancements in energy storage or the creation of self-sustaining power systems capable of functioning reliably across cosmic epochs. These technological hurdles contribute to the rationale behind mainstream astronomers' continued skepticism toward hypotheses positing an artificial origin for interstellar entities such as oumuamua. The engineering demands appear to transcend what might be reasonably anticipated, even from highly developed extraterrestrial civilizations, especially for reconnaissance missions that could be regarded as routine operations rather than exceptional endeavors warranting substantial resource allocations. Nevertheless, this skepticism might more accurately reflect limitations in human ingenuity rather than inherent physical constraints on alien technological progression. Civilizations that have enjoyed millions or billions of years to cultivate their scientific comprehension and engineering prowess might devise solutions to interstellar travel challenges that appear insurmountable from our present vantage point. What seems unattainable today could represent commonplace technology for societies with vastly extended developmental timelines. The trajectory analysis of oumuamua further unveils subtle characteristics that become apparent only through prolonged observation and meticulous modeling. unlike the relatively straightforward elliptical or hyperbolic trajectories followed by most solar system bodies. The motion of oumuamua through space exhibits complex fluctuations, suggesting continuous adjustments aimed at optimizing its observational opportunities. These adjustments are most evident in the object's orientation relative to the Sun and planets as it traverses our solar system. Instead of maintaining a fixed posture, akin to a typical comet or asteroid, oumuamua appears to be rotating in a manner that periodically exposes different facets of its surface towards major planets during close encounters. This behavior would be highly advantageous for a probe equipped with directional sensors designed to acquire detailed intelligence about each celestial body it encounters. Dr. Alan Fitzsimmons of Queen's University Belfast, who spearheads the European team conducting spectroscopic analysis of oumuamua, has meticulously documented these orientation shifts through careful measurement of variations in the object's brightness over time. Natural comets typically display luminosity fluctuations that correlate with their irregular shapes and rotational periods. However, the patterns observed for oumuamua suggest a more intricate behavior, potentially indicative of active attitude control. The spectroscopic data gathered by Fitzsimmons and his collaborators also reveals compositional anomalies in the material being ejected from oumuamua as it approaches the Sun. While the detection of water vapor and carbon dioxide initially supported the interpretation of the object as a natural comet, subsequent analysis has identified trace amounts of elements and compounds that are difficult to account for through conventional cometary formation processes. These exotic materials include isotopic ratios of common elements that diverge from those observed in solar system comets and meteorites. Such discrepancies might point to formation in stellar environments with distinct nuclear processes compared to those that engendered our solar system. However, they could equally indicate synthetic materials engineered to emulate natural cometary composition while serving technological functions imperceptible to remote observation. The potential for sophisticated camouflage introduces an additional layer of complexity to the endeavor of definitively ascertaining oumuamua's nature. Any advanced civilization possessing the capacity for interstellar travel would likely command nanotechnology and material science capabilities, enabling the fabrication of artificial objects virtually indistinguishable from natural phenomena. Surface coatings designed to mimic cometary composition could mask intricate internal structures while producing spectroscopic signatures consistent with natural origins. This possibility has spurred the development of novel observational techniques specifically engineered to detect subtle indicators of artificial origin that might elude conventional astronomical methods. The extremely large telescope in Chile has been outfitted with experimental polarimetric instruments capable of discerning patterns in reflected light that might signify artificial surface structures. Radio telescopes across the globe have been programmed to scan for faint electromagnetic emissions that could betray the presence of active electronics within the object. To date, these specialized investigations have yielded ambiguous results, neither confirming nor refuting an artificial origin for oumuamua. The object remains tantalizingly at the periphery of detectability for our most sensitive available techniques, generating observations that are compatible with both natural and artificial interpretations, contingent upon the assumptions underpinning their analysis. The inherent ambiguity of current observations underscores the limitations of remote sensing methodologies when applied to potentially sophisticated alien technology. Objects engineered for stealth reconnaissance would logically incorporate countermeasures against the detection methods anticipated to be employed by the civilizations they are observing. What appears as a natural comet to human observers could, in reality, represent highly effective camouflage rather than genuine natural phenomena. This technological contest between observers and the observed injects a strategic dimension into the scientific scrutiny of oumuamua. If the object is indeed an alien probe, its creators would have foreseen that advanced civilizations and target systems might eventually develop capabilities for detailed remote sensing. The probe's design would consequently incorporate features specifically intended to thwart such analysis while perpetuating the illusion of natural origin. The ensuing observational challenges extend beyond mere technical prowess to the interpretation of equivocal data when confronted with potentially deceptive phenomena. Standard scientific methodology presumes that the subjects under investigation are passive natural occurrences that reveal their true characteristics through diligent observation. However, intelligent artifacts deliberately designed for concealment might actively mislead observers, fabricating spurious data intended to support erroneous conclusions about their nature and purpose. These epistemological difficulties highlight the broader challenges inherent in the search for evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence using methodologies developed for studying natural phenomena. The same observational techniques that prove effective for analyzing stars, planets, and authentic comets might prove insufficient when applied to technologies specifically engineered to evade detection and analysis by alien civilizations. As oumuamua continues its precisely calculated trajectory toward the inner solar system, the questions arising from its trajectory analysis grow increasingly urgent and complex. The optimal survey path it pursues, the statistical improbabilities surrounding its discovery, the sophisticated navigation required to maintain such accuracy, and the strategic timing of its solar occultation all coalesce to form a pattern that challenges our assumptions about random cosmic occurrences. Whether this pattern signifies extraordinary coincidence, natural processes yet beyond our comprehension, or deliberate orchestration by an intelligence vastly exceeding our own may ultimately determine not only our understanding of this particular visitor, but also our entire approach to cosmic security and the profound possibility that we share our galaxy with civilizations whose capabilities and intentions remain deeply enigmatic. Within the darkest reaches of theoretical physics and xenobiology, a disquieting hypothesis has taken root, one that fundamentally alters our perception of why the galaxy appears so unnervingly silent despite harboring billions of potentially habitable worlds. This concept, termed the dark forest hypothesis, posits that the universe operates not as a benevolent cosmic community, but as a predatory arena where civilizations conceal themselves in perpetual fear of hunters whose capabilities and intentions are unknowable. If oumuamua represents our inaugural encounter with technology originating from such a universe, then humanity may have inadvertently stumbled into the most perilous game in galactic history. The dark forest theory originated from the brilliant intellect of Chinese science fiction author Liu Cixin, whose three-body trilogy explored the catastrophic ramifications of first contact between civilizations possessing vastly divergent capabilities and ethical frameworks. Yet, what began as speculative fiction has increasingly captivated the attention of serious researchers grappling with the Fermi paradox, the perplexing contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial life and the utter absence of observable advanced civilizations. The mathematical underpinnings are stark and undeniable. Our galaxy encompasses an estimated 400 billion stars, with recent discoveries from the Kepler Space Telescope and other planet-hunting missions suggesting that rocky worlds within habitable zones are commonplace throughout the cosmos. Even conservative estimations indicate that millions of worlds in our galaxy alone should possess the capacity to sustain life as we comprehend it. Given the age of the universe and the rapid pace of technological advancement demonstrated by human civilization, many of these worlds should have given rise to spacefaring civilizations millions or even billions of years ago. Yet, despite decades of increasingly sophisticated searches for extraterrestrial intelligence, we have detected no confirmed signals from alien civilizations, no evidence of large-scale engineering projects, and no overt signs of interstellar travel or colonization. This great silence, as it has been termed by researchers, demands an explanation. Either we are fundamentally alone in a vast and empty universe, or potent forces are at play that prevent the detection of alien civilizations that almost certainly exist. The dark forest hypothesis offers one of the most chillingly plausible explanations for this cosmic silence. According to this theory, advanced civilizations remain hidden not due to a lack of technology for interstellar communication or travel, but because the galaxy harbors predatory species that systematically eliminate any civilization they detect. In such an environment, revealing one's location through radio transmissions or other detectable activities amounts to signing one's species' death warrant. The logic of the dark forest scenario is brutally straightforward. When two civilizations encounter each other across interstellar distances, neither can ascertain the other's intentions with certainty. Even seemingly peaceful communications could be deceptive, designed to lower defenses before a devastating assault. The technological capabilities required for interstellar travel also enable the construction of weaponry capable of sterilizing entire worlds from immense distances. In the absence of reliable information regarding alien intentions, the safest strategy for any civilization might be to strike first and inquire later. This paranoid calculus becomes even more compelling when we consider the exponential nature of technological development. A civilization that gains even a modest technological advantage over its neighbors could rapidly leverage that advantage into overwhelming superiority. Advanced nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, or exotic physics could facilitate rapid self-replication and expansion at rates that would render response impossible for less developed entities. The window between achieving technological parity and attaining complete dominance might be measured in decades or centuries, rather than millennia. Under such conditions, the galaxy could be populated by civilizations locked in a perpetual state of Cold War, each fearing to reveal its existence while simultaneously searching for signs of potential threats. Advanced species would develop increasingly sophisticated detection technologies while investing prodigious resources in stealth and concealment. The outcome would be a cosmic landscape replete with hidden watchers, each hesitant to initiate hostilities, yet prepared to retaliate with devastating force against any detected threat. Dr. Robin Hanson of George Mason University, who has authored extensively on potential solutions to the Fermi paradox, characterizes the dark forest scenario as a form of cosmic prisoner's dilemma writ large across the galaxy. Individual civilizations might prefer peaceful coexistence and mutual benefit through trade and cultural exchange, but the inability to verify the peaceful intentions of distant aliens, coupled with the catastrophic consequences of miscalculation, creates incentive structures that favor aggressive preemption over diplomatic cooperation. Recent advancements in theoretical physics and military technology render the dark forest scenario increasingly tenable from a purely technical standpoint. Progress in our understanding of relativistic weaponry, including concepts such as relativistic kill vehicles and directed energy systems, demonstrates that civilizations with even modest technological superiority could pose existential threats across interstellar distances. A civilization capable of accelerating projectiles to significant fractions of the speed of light could deliver devastating kinetic impacts to distant worlds with minimal warning time for defensive measures. The energy requirements for such weaponry, while immense by current human standards, might represent routine applications of power generation technologies accessible to advanced spacefaring civilizations. A Dyson sphere or similar stellar engineering project could furnish the energy needed to launch relativistic weapons against dozens or hundreds of target systems simultaneously. From the perspective of a sufficiently advanced civilization, sterilizing entire star systems might necessitate no more effort than modern militaries expend on conventional bombing campaigns. These technical possibilities transmute the dark forest hypothesis from speculative fiction into a substantive framework for comprehending the strategic dynamics that could govern interstellar relations. If the galaxy operates according to such principles, then any detectable sign of a technological civilization becomes a target for preemptive elimination. Radio signals, atmospheric pollution, large-scale engineering projects, and interstellar spacecraft all represent potential death sentences for the civilizations that create them. The implications for interpreting objects like oumuamua become profoundly disturbing when viewed through this dark forest lens. If the galaxy harbors hidden predatory civilizations, then any interstellar visitor must be assessed not merely as a potential source of scientific knowledge, but as a possible reconnaissance probe preceding more aggressive actions. The sophisticated trajectory control and apparent stealth capabilities suggested by oumuamua align precisely with what might be anticipated from advanced scouting missions designed to evaluate the capabilities and vulnerabilities of target civilizations. Dr. Stuart Armstrong of the Future of Humanity Institute at Oxford University has developed detailed models illustrating how dark forest dynamics might influence the design and deployment of interstellar reconnaissance probes. According to his analysis, published in the Journal of Astrobiology, optimal probe designs would prioritize stealth and information gathering over direct communication or overt technological signatures. Such probes would be engineered to mimic natural phenomena while conducting comprehensive surveys of target systems and their indigenous civilizations. The survey priorities for dark forest reconnaissance missions would focus on military and technological capabilities rather than cultural or scientific characteristics. A hostile civilization would need to ascertain whether target species possessed advanced weaponry, space-based defenses, or detection capabilities that could jeopardize subsequent military operations. The probe would also evaluate the unity and cooperation levels of target civilizations, identifying potential divisions that could be exploited during conquest or subjugation campaigns. From this vantage point, oumuamua's trajectory through our solar system takes on an ominous strategic significance. Its path provides optimal observational opportunities for assessing Earth's technological development, military capabilities, and space-based infrastructure. The close approaches to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter would facilitate detailed analysis of human space exploration activities and potential defensive installations. The timing of its solar occultation creates opportunities for covert deployment of smaller surveillance devices that could continue monitoring human activities long after the main probe departs. The possibility that oumuamua represents the opening maneuver in a dark forest scenario has not escaped the notice of researchers who study existential risks to humanity. The Center for Existential Risk at Cambridge University has conducted classified briefings for governmental and defense officials concerning the implications of potential hostile alien contact, drawing upon game theory and strategic analysis to model possible response scenarios. Their preliminary conclusions suggest that humanity would face intractable choices in responding to confirmed evidence of alien reconnaissance. Open acknowledgement of alien presence might incite panic and societal collapse, undermining the international cooperation necessary for effective defense. However, ignoring the threat or responding inadequately could result in complete surprise when more aggressive actions follow. The strategic dynamics elucidated by dark forest theory create scenarios where no response option offers reasonable prospects for human survival. These grim calculations help explain the unprecedented military mobilization evidenced by the September 2025 gathering at Quantico. If Defense Secretary Hegth and his advisors have access to classified analyses suggesting that oumuamua might represent hostile reconnaissance, then comprehensive military planning becomes not merely prudent, but essential for species survival. The scope and secrecy of the meeting align with preparations for scenarios that could impact not only American national security, but the very future of human civilization. The Dark Forest Framework also provides a context for understanding the broader patterns of governmental secrecy and military interest in unexplained aerial phenomena that have emerged in recent years. If intelligence agencies have detected multiple anomalous objects or behaviors consistent with systematic alien surveillance, then the coordinated response suggested by recent Pentagon disclosures becomes strategically logical. What appears to be increasing transparency regarding UFO encounters might, in fact, represent the preparation of public opinion for revelations about far more serious matters. However, the dark forest hypothesis also suggests that any effective response to potential alien threats would necessitate capabilities far beyond those currently possessed by human civilization. The detection and tracking of stealth reconnaissance probes would demand sensor technologies and data analysis capabilities that surpass current military systems by orders of magnitude. Defensive measures against relativistic weapons or advanced alien technologies would require scientific breakthroughs that might take decades or centuries to achieve. A significant technological disparity creates what experts in strategy refer to as a brief period of extreme defenselessness, during which humankind is essentially incapable of repelling sophisticated extraterrestrial threats. The very advancements that make our civilization increasingly discoverable also render us a more appealing target for species aiming to neutralize potential rivals before they pose a threat. The interval between becoming noticeable and developing adequate defenses could represent the most perilous phase in any civilization's journey. Dr. Nick Bostenram, who heads the Institute for the Future of Humanity, has proposed that this vulnerability period might explain why the dark forest hypothesis could be even more prevalent than initially conceived by Liu Shurkin. Civilizations that manage to overcome these precarious times likely do so by successfully eliminating other species before those species could develop dangerous capabilities. It's conceivable that the galaxy is not merely populated by civilizations in hiding, but by those that have demonstrated their resilience through successful campaigns of annihilation against their neighbors. From this vantage point, the apparent scarcity of detectable alien life forms is not proof of their non-existence, but rather evidence of their adept adaptation to a predatory cosmic environment. The civilizations we cannot detect are precisely those that have perfected the arts of concealment and preemptive destruction, ensuring their survival in a stark, unforgiving universe. Any civilization detectable by our current means would have already been eradicated by more advanced predators operating from deeper hiding. The psychological ramifications of contemplating these dark forest scenarios are as unsettling as their strategic implications. Human civilization has evolved with the underlying assumption that the universe operates on principles of rational collaboration and mutual advantage. Our scientific, cultural, and philosophical frameworks are built upon the notion that intelligent beings would generally favor peaceful coexistence over destructive conflict. The prospect that intelligence might naturally gravitate towards predatory behavior challenges core beliefs about the nature of consciousness and moral development. However, evolutionary biology offers abundant evidence that competition and predation have been instrumental in shaping the complexity observed in terrestrial life. The very pressures of natural selection that led to the development of human intelligence also gave rise to countless instances of parasitism, predation, and competitive exclusion among species vying for scarce resources. Extending these dynamics to an interstellar scale might not be an anomaly, but rather the natural outcome of intelligence emerging within resource-limited environments. The cultural and religious implications of dark forest scenarios are beginning to shape theological discussions regarding humanity's place in the cosmic narrative. If the universe harbors advanced predatory civilizations, then traditional concepts of divine oversight and benevolent cosmic order would necessitate fundamental reevaluation. Some theologians suggest that dark forest dynamics could represent a form of celestial trial, demanding that civilizations cultivate both advanced technology and moral fortitude to navigate encounters with less scrupulous neighbors. Conversely, others argue that dark forest scenarios are fundamentally incompatible with any meaningful understanding of cosmic purpose or divine direction. A universe in which intelligence naturally tends towards mutual annihilation would seem to contradict foundational religious tenets concerning the ultimate triumph of good over evil. The possibility that human civilization represents a solitary bastion of moral advancement amidst a sea of cosmic predators raises profound questions about the very meaning and purpose of consciousness itself. These philosophical quandaries become particularly acute when we consider the available responses for human civilization should dark forest dynamics indeed govern galactic relations. Should humanity allocate resources towards developing advanced weaponry and stealth technologies to compete within a predatory cosmic arena? Or should we persist with our current trajectory of peaceful space exploration and international collaboration, hoping that our example might inspire more ethical conduct from potential alien neighbors? The strategic quandary intensifies when we acknowledge that our own preparations for potential dark forest threats might inadvertently provoke the very aggressive behavior we aim to circumvent. Overt displays of military readiness for alien contact could be misconstrued by observing civilizations as indicative of hostile intent, thereby justifying preemptive strikes against humanity. However, a failure to establish adequate defenses could invite aggression from predators who perceive unprepared civilizations as easy prey. The mathematical principles of game theory, which underpin dark forest scenarios, offer no straightforward solutions to these dilemmas. The optimal course of action critically hinges on assumptions regarding the intentions and capabilities of other participants, information that remains fundamentally inaccessible across interstellar distances. Even highly advanced alien civilizations would face similar uncertainties regarding human intentions and future development, creating symmetrical incentive structures that favor mutual suspicion and potential conflict. As the object designated oumuamua continues its passage through our solar system, carrying with it the possibility that we are undergoing systematic evaluation by intelligences far beyond our own, the dark forest hypothesis transforms from an abstract theoretical musing into an urgent practical concern. If this interstellar visitor represents reconnaissance by a civilization capable of traversing the stars, then its observations of human technological capabilities, military preparations, and international cooperation could well determine whether our species faces a future measured in centuries or mere years. The remaining weeks before oumuamua disappears behind the sun may well represent humanity's final opportunity to showcase whatever qualities might differentiate us from the cosmic predators that the dark forest hypothesis suggests dominate our galaxy. Whether those qualities encompass technological prowess, moral wisdom, or simply the capacity for effective concealment may dictate not only our survival, but our worthiness to join whatever collective of civilizations has successfully navigated the perilous expanse of a universe where intelligence and predation have become inextricably linked. Deep within the labyrinthine corridors of the Pentagon, in chambers that officially bear no mark on any architectural diagram, military strategists have dedicated decades to devising protocols for situations that sound like science fiction but represent potential realities that could instantaneously redefine human civilization. These contingency plans, known only by their cryptic code names and classification levels surpassing even those assigned to nuclear war planning documents, address the fundamental question that has preoccupied military planners since the dawn of the space age. How does a planetary civilization prepare for contact with intelligence originating from beyond the stars? The institutional framework for addressing potential extraterrestrial threats has undergone significant evolution since the inception of Project Blue Book, the United States Air Force program that investigated unidentified flying objects from 1952 to 1969. Although Blue Book was officially concluded with the determination that most UFO reports could be attributed to natural phenomena or observational errors, the underlying concerns about potential alien contact never vanished from military planning documents. Instead, they were transferred to more covert programs operating under the purview of agencies whose very existence was frequently disavowed by official government pronouncements. The contemporary structure for military responses to potential extraterrestrial phenomena centers on the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, established in 2022 as the successor to earlier initiatives that had operated under various designations and organizational structures since the 1970s. While the ARO serves as the public face of government efforts to investigate unexplained aerial phenomena, its mandate extends beyond mere examination of pilot encounters with unusual craft to encompass a systematic assessment of potential threats posed by non-terrestrial intelligence. According to classified briefing materials obtained through congressional oversight channels, the ARO operates under the presumption that any confirmed evidence of extraterrestrial technology would automatically trigger the highest levels of national security response. The office maintains direct communication channels to the National Security Council, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and specialized military units trained for scenarios requiring the rapid deployment of advanced sensor systems and potential first contact protocols. However, the true nexus of military planning for extraterrestrial contact scenarios resides not in the ARO's public offices, but within the deep underground facilities that house the most sensitive components of America's national security infrastructure. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado, renowned as the headquarters for NORAD's missile warning systems, also contains specialized analytical centers dedicated to tracking and characterizing objects exhibiting traits inconsistent with known human technology or natural phenomena. These facilities operate under security classifications that exceed even those applied to nuclear weapons programs, underscoring the profound implications that confirmed alien contact would have for global political and social stability. The analysts employed in these subterranean facilities undergo psychological screening processes designed to identify individuals capable of maintaining operational effectiveness when confronted with information that fundamentally challenges humanity's perceived place in the universe. Dr. Halpathoff, a theoretical physicist who has advised various government agencies on advanced aerospace technologies, has articulated the institutional mindset that guides military approaches to potential extraterrestrial contact. According to Puthoff, speaking at a classified briefing for congressional staff members, the military operates under the assumption that any alien civilization capable of interstellar travel would possess technological capabilities that could pose existential threats to human civilization, irrespective of their intentions. This threat assessment framework directs military planning towards scenarios prioritizing the rapid detection and characterization of potential extraterrestrial technology, followed by immediate escalation to the highest echelons of government decision-making. The protocols assume that timeframes for effective responses to alien contact could be measured in hours or days rather than months or years, necessitating pre-positioned assets and pre-approved response authorities that bypass standard bureaucratic procedures. The technical capabilities required to detect and analyze potential alien technology have spurred decades of investment in advanced sensor systems and data analysis techniques that far surpass the capacities available to civilian research institutions. The space-based infrared system, officially designed to detect ballistic missile launches, also possesses capabilities for tracking objects exhibiting unusual thermal signatures or motion characteristics that might indicate artificial origin. Similarly, the deep space surveillance system, ostensibly focused on tracking satellites and space debris, maintains classified capabilities for detecting objects at distances extending well beyond Earth orbit. This system can identify and characterize objects as small as 10 centimeters in diameter at distances approaching the orbit of Jupiter, providing early warning of interstellar visitors months or years before they become detectable by civilian astronomical surveys. These military space surveillance capabilities have detected numerous objects over the past several decades that exhibit characteristics difficult to explain through conventional understanding of natural phenomena or known human technology. According to testimony presented to congressional intelligence committees, the classified databases maintained by military surveillance systems contain thousands of entries for objects that remain unexplained despite extensive analysis by teams of specialized researchers. The existence of these unexplained detections has driven the development of increasingly sophisticated analytical frameworks designed to differentiate between natural phenomena, unknown human technology, and potential extraterrestrial artifacts. The mathematical models employed in this analysis draw upon statistical techniques developed for intelligence analysis, signal processing methods adapted from communications research, and pattern recognition algorithms capable of identifying subtle signatures of artificial origin that are imperceptible to human observers. When applied to objects such as oumuamua, these analytical frameworks yield results that remain classified, but have reportedly influenced high-level policy discussions concerning appropriate government responses to potential alien reconnaissance. While civilian astronomers engage in debates about the statistical probabilities surrounding the object's unusual characteristics, military analysts operate with access to sensor data and modeling capabilities that may provide more definitive answers about its true nature. The integration of civilian astronomical observations with classified military sensor data presents complex challenges for information sharing and decision-making when dealing with potentially significant discoveries. The same telescopes and research institutions that provide publicly accessible data about oumuamua also contribute to classified analysis programs that may arrive at vastly different conclusions regarding the object's origin and implications. This dual-track approach to analyzing potential extraterrestrial phenomena reflects the fundamental tension between scientific transparency and national security imperatives. Civilian researchers require open access to data and collaborative peer review to conduct effective scientific analysis. However, military analysts must safeguard sensitive information regarding detection capabilities and threat assessment methodologies that could be exploited by adversaries if publicly disclosed. The outcome is a complex ecosystem of partial information dissemination, where civilian researchers may inadvertently supply data that contributes to classified assessments of existential threats to human civilization. The astronomical observations of oumuamua published in peer-reviewed journals represent only a fraction of the total information available to government analysts evaluating the object's significance for national and global security. The protocols governing military responses to confirmed extraterrestrial contact have been refined through decades of wargaming exercises and scenario planning sessions, which remain among the most highly classified activities undertaken by the American defense establishment. These exercises, identified by code names that are regularly altered to maintain operational security, involve senior military officers, intelligence officials, and civilian experts in fields ranging from xenobiology to game theory. The scenarios explored in these exercises encompass a wide spectrum of potential alien contact situations, from peaceful diplomatic overtures to aggressive military intervention. However, according to participants who have discussed these exercises in general terms, the planning consistently emphasizes rapid escalation to a full-spectrum military response, regardless of the apparent intentions of the extraterrestrial entity. This emphasis on military preparedness stems not from paranoia or aggressive intent, but rather from the profound asymmetries in capability that would characterize any encounter between human civilization and alien species capable of interstellar travel. Even seemingly benevolent alien visitors would possess technologies that could be repurposed for devastating military applications if their intentions proved hostile. The capacity to traverse interstellar distances implies a mastery of energy manipulation, material science, and propulsion technologies that could be weaponized to pose existential threats to planetary civilizations. The mathematical modeling employed in military planning exercises demonstrates that these technological disparities create scenarios where traditional concepts of deterrence and graduated response become irrelevant. Any alien civilization capable of reaching Earth would likely possess the means to sterilize the planet's surface or eliminate human technological infrastructure, irrespective of any defensive measures that might be deployed. Under such circumstances, the primary value of military preparedness lies not in deterring alien aggression, but in demonstrating human technological capability and resolve to potential extraterrestrial observers. This strategic rationale helps elucidate the unprecedented nature of the September 2025 military gathering at Quantico. If intelligence analysis of oumuamua has yielded classified assessments suggesting possible artificial origin, then comprehensive military planning becomes essential, not merely for potential defense, but for ensuring that human responses to alien contact reflect appropriate levels of technological sophistication and organizational capacity. The selection of senior military officers for such briefings would reflect careful consideration of psychological factors as well as operational requirements. An effective response to confirmed alien contact would necessitate leaders capable of maintaining rational decision-making processes when confronted with information that fundamentally challenges established understandings of reality. The officers summoned to Quantico would have been chosen based on their demonstrated ability to function effectively in high-stress environments involving unprecedented circumstances. The logistical complexities of assembling hundreds of senior officers from global deployments further underscore the priority assigned to whatever information was slated for dissemination during the meeting. Mobilizing commanders from active combat zones and strategic installations involves operational risks that would only be deemed acceptable for matters of extraordinary significance. The willingness to incur such risks suggests that the briefings addressed scenarios potentially impacting global security rather than merely regional military concerns. The choice of venue reflects both security requirements and symbolic considerations crucial for sustaining morale and confidence among senior military leadership. The Marine Corps base provides facilities secure enough for discussions involving the highest levels of classified information, while also offering historical associations with military excellence and tradition that might serve as psychological anchor points for officers grappling with paradigm-shifting revelations about humanity's cosmic context. The duration and structure of the Quantico meeting would have been meticulously planned to deliver comprehensive briefings while minimizing the psychological impact that could arise from overly rapid exposure to information about potential extraterrestrial threats. Military psychologists have studied the psychological effects of paradigm-shifting information since the early days of the nuclear age, developing techniques to assist personnel in integrating new understandings of existential threats without compromising operational effectiveness. These psychological preparation strategies become particularly critical when dealing with information concerning potential alien contact, as such revelations affect not only military strategy, but also fundamental beliefs about human significance and cosmic purpose. Military and intelligence personnel accustomed to contemplating earthly geopolitical landscapes and conventional military dangers must swiftly adjust to situations involving intelligences whose capabilities and intentions could be utterly beyond human comprehension. Briefing materials for such assemblies would blend technical evaluations of gathered intelligence with strategic assessments of potential courses of action and their probable outcomes. Personnel would be furnished with granular data on sensor capacities, detection methodologies, and analytical approaches employed in scrutinizing potential extraterrestrial phenomena. Furthermore, they would undergo instruction in the psychological and societal dynamics that might influence military effectiveness during actual instances of alien encounter. The international dimensions of potential alien contact introduce a layer of complexity to military planning processes, as established notions of national sovereignty lose relevance when confronting threats that operate on planetary or solar system scales. Any verified evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence would necessitate an unprecedented degree of global collaboration, while simultaneously igniting competitive rivalries between nations seeking an edge from potential alien technologies. Military strategists must prepare for scenarios where news of alien contact disseminates rapidly through international intelligence channels, potentially precipitating diplomatic crises as countries demand access to classified analyses or threaten independent action if excluded from response planning. The very information-sharing agreements that facilitate cooperation against terrestrial threats could become sources of discord when applied to situations involving potential extraterrestrial contact. The economic repercussions of confirmed alien contact would also necessitate military consideration, as the societal upheaval stemming from such revelations could impact the resource base and public backing essential for effective defense preparations. Financial markets, religious establishments, and social structures cultivated over millennia of human civilization might prove insufficient for processing information concerning advanced alien civilizations. Military contingency planning for these economic and societal aspects of alien contact involves synchronization with civilian agencies responsible for emergency management, economic stabilization, and public communications. However, the efficacy of such coordination hinges on the readiness of civilian institutions to acknowledge and prepare for scenarios that most public officials would prefer to dismiss as science fiction rather than potential policy challenges. The technological advancement programs that would be initiated in response to verified evidence of alien reconnaissance represent some of the most ambitious scientific and engineering endeavors ever conceived by human civilization. The detection of advanced extraterrestrial technology would justify substantial investments in reverse engineering initiatives aimed at comprehending alien scientific principles and adapting them for human defense applications. Nevertheless, such technological development programs would also necessitate fundamental alterations in the organization and funding of scientific research. Given that conventional academic and commercial research frameworks may be inadequate for the rapid technological progress required to address alien threats, military research and development would need to integrate capabilities from universities, private industry, and international collaborators, all while maintaining security protocols to shield sensitive information from potential alien surveillance. The human capital requirements for an effective military response to alien contact scenarios extend far beyond traditional military occupational specialties to include experts in disciplines ranging from theoretical physics to xenobiology. The officer corps would require rapid expansion and reskilling to confront threats and opportunities with no historical precedent in military affairs. Educational institutions would necessitate fundamental curriculum revisions to prepare future military leaders for cosmic, rather than purely terrestrial, strategic thinking. As 3I Atlas continues its approach, military response protocols honed over decades of classified planning may face their inaugural real-world implementation. The object's trajectory towards solar occultation establishes a natural deadline for intelligence gathering and response preparation, as any course adjustments made during the weeks it remains obscured behind the sun could fundamentally alter the strategic landscape confronting human civilization. The decisions rendered by military leaders during this critical juncture may dictate not only the immediate reaction to 3I Atlas, but also the entire paradigm for humanity's transition from a planetary to a genuinely cosmic perspective. Whether that transition unfolds through peaceful integration with a benevolent galactic community or through desperate defense against predatory alien forces may depend on the wisdom and effectiveness of the military protocols now being activated in response to humanity's first potential encounter with intelligence from beyond the stars. The timeline linking the discovery of 3I Atlas to the unprecedented military congregation at Quantico reveals a pattern of escalating concern and classified decision-making that transmutes what appeared to be routine astronomical observation into the opening maneuvers of humanity's most significant strategic challenge. To comprehend how these events unfolded behind the veil of governmental secrecy, we must trace the flow of information from telescope observations through intelligence analysis to the highest echelons of military and political authority. The initial detection of 3-2 Atlas on July 1, 2025, triggered automated notification systems that extend well beyond the civilian astronomical community. The Atlas Survey telescope that discovered the object operates under funding agreements with NASA that include data-sharing protocols with multiple government agencies, including the Department of Defense's Space Surveillance Network and various intelligence organizations tasked with monitoring potential threats to American interests. Within hours of the initial detection, preliminary orbital calculations performed by the Minor Planet Center at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics had identified 3I Atlas as a probable interstellar object, based on its hyperbolic trajectory. This classification automatically initiated enhanced scrutiny from military space tracking systems, which began collecting detailed observations using sensor capabilities unavailable to civilian astronomers. The amalgamation of civilian and military observations during the initial weeks of July produced a comprehensive data set that unveiled the unusual characteristics, which would later spark considerable controversy. While public astronomical bulletins highlighted the discovery of the third confirmed interstellar visitor, classified analyses conducted by the Air Force Technical Application Center identified statistical anomalies in the object's trajectory, brightness variations, and spectroscopic signature that warranted further investigation. Dr. Patricia Robertson, former director of the Defense Intelligence Agency's Missile and Space Intelligence Center, has described the analytical process that transforms routine astronomical observations into potential national security concerns. According to Robertson, speaking at a classified conference on space-based threats, unusual objects detected by civilian surveys undergo systematic evaluation using threat assessment frameworks specifically developed for identifying phenomena that might represent unknown technologies or hostile activities. These analytical frameworks integrate statistical analysis, pattern recognition, and scenario modeling to evaluate whether observed phenomena fall within the expected range of natural cosmic events or display characteristics consistent with an artificial origin. The process involves comparison with extensive databases of known natural phenomena, human technological capabilities, and theoretical predictions about potential extraterrestrial technologies. When applied to 3I Atlas during July and August of 2025, this analytical process reportedly yielded results that elevated the object from a matter of routine scientific curiosity to one of potential strategic concern. While the precise details of this analysis remain classified, Congressional testimony by intelligence officials has indicated that the object exhibits multiple characteristics that are difficult to reconcile with conventional explanations. The escalation of concern regarding 3-2 Atlas coincided with broader developments in the government's approach to unexplained aerial phenomena, which had been gaining momentum since the 2021 Pentagon report on unidentified aerial phenomena. The establishment of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office and increased congressional oversight of UAP investigations had created institutional frameworks for taking anomalous observations more seriously than had been the case in previous decades. This evolving institutional context meant that unusual characteristics observed in 3-2 Atlas received more systematic attention from intelligence and military analysts than might have been the case in earlier periods. Rather than dismissing anomalies as observational errors or poorly understood natural phenomena, the new protocols mandated comprehensive investigation and threat assessment, even when conventional explanations remain plausible. The timeline of escalating concern becomes apparent through the pattern of additional observations requested by various government agencies during August and September of 2025. The Hubble Space Telescope, initially scheduled for routine maintenance during this period, was redirected to conduct detailed observations of 3I Atlas using specialized instruments optimized for detecting artificial structures or unusual material properties. Similarly, the James Webb Space Telescope dedicated significant observing time to spectroscopic analysis of 3I Atlas. Despite competing demands from the civilian astronomy community for access to the world's most advanced space-based observatory, the allocation of such premium observational resources to a single object indicates a high-level priority assignment that extends beyond normal scientific interest in interstellar visitors. The involvement of intelligence agencies in directing astronomical observations represents a significant departure from traditional boundaries between civilian science and national security activities. Historically, space-based telescopes operated by NASA and other civilian agencies have maintained independence from intelligence collection activities to preserve their scientific credibility and foster international cooperation. The apparent integration of 3I Atlas observations into intelligence collection activities suggests that the object's characteristics justified extraordinary measures that superseded normal institutional boundaries. This integration would have required approval from the highest levels of government, indicating that concerns about the object's nature had reached cabinet-level discussions by late August of 2025. The international dimensions of 3I Atlas observations add further complexity to the timeline of governmental response. While American agencies were conducting detailed analyses using classified capabilities, allied nations possessing advanced space surveillance systems were concurrently gathering their own data on the object. The coordination of international intelligence sharing regarding 3-2 Atlas would necessitate diplomatic discussions at the highest levels to balance information dissemination with operational security requirements. European Space Agency observations of 3I Atlas, conducted through the ESA's network of ground-based and space-based sensors, reportedly identified some of the same anomalies noted by American intelligence analysts. However, the interpretation of these anomalies varied among different national intelligence services, with some European agencies expressing skepticism about conclusions regarding potential artificial origin. These international divergences in threat assessment placed additional pressure on American decision-makers to enhance their independent capabilities rather than relying on international cooperation that might prove insufficient or unreliable during an actual crisis. The September military meeting at Quantico may have been convened to ensure that American military leadership was prepared for unilateral action should international cooperation prove inadequate. The Chinese space surveillance system, operated by the People's Liberation Army Strategic Support Force, has maintained official silence regarding 3I Atlas observations, but has increased its monitoring activities for interstellar objects following the July discovery. Intelligence assessments suggest that Chinese analysts have reached conclusions about 3I Atlas that influence their own military space programs, potentially creating competitive dynamics between major powers concerning responses to potential extraterrestrial phenomena. Russian space surveillance capabilities, while limited compared to American and Chinese systems, have also been directed towards 3I Atlas observations. According to intercepted communications analyzed by Western intelligence agencies, the Russian response appears to emphasize the development of defensive technologies that could be deployed against potential alien threats, rather than diplomatic or scientific engagement strategies favored by some Western analysts. The emergence of divergent national responses to 3-2 Atlas during August and September of 2025 created added urgency for American military planning. as uncoordinated international actions could interfere with optimal response strategies or inadvertently provoke hostile reactions from potential extraterrestrial observers. The necessity of coordinating, or at least anticipating, allied and adversary responses to alien contact scenarios represents a novel challenge in international relations with no historical precedent. The domestic political dimensions of growing governmental concern about 3-2 Atlas also influenced the timeline of military response planning. Congressional intelligence committees began receiving classified briefings on the object in late August, creating pressure for visible governmental action that could demonstrate appropriate attention to potential national security concerns without inciting public panic about alien invasion scenarios. The delicate balance between congressional oversight requirements and operational security needs concerning 3-2 Atlas presented complex challenges for executive branch officials tasked with managing the governmental response. Furnishing sufficient information to satisfy congressional concerns while safeguarding sensitive intelligence sources and methods necessitates careful calibration that becomes increasingly difficult as the potential significance of discoveries grows. The September 25th date for the Quantico military meeting appears to have been selected to allow maximum time for intelligence analysis while still providing adequate time for response preparation before 3-2 Atlas disappears behind the sun in late October. The timing suggests that military planners intended to complete comprehensive threat assessment and response planning before losing observational contact with the object during its solar occultation period. The intervening weeks between the initial July discovery and the September military meeting would have been occupied by intensive analysis utilizing the most advanced sensor systems and analytical capabilities available to American intelligence agencies. This analysis would have combined observations from multiple space-based and ground-based sensors with theoretical modeling of potential alien technologies and strategic assessments of various response options. The outcomes of this analysis, while remaining classified, apparently justified the convening of the most senior military leadership in modern American history. The scope of the meeting indicates that the briefings addressed scenarios with implications extending far beyond typical national security concerns to encompass potential threats to human civilization itself. The psychological preparation required for military leaders to process information about potential alien reconnaissance would have been as critical as the technical briefings concerning 3-I Atlas's characteristics and behavior. Officers accustomed to contemplating terrestrial threats and conventional military responses would have required rapid education regarding the strategic dynamics that might govern interstellar relations and the technological asymmetries that would characterize any conflict with alien civilizations. The briefing materials developed for the Quantico meeting would have synthesized months of intelligence analysis with strategic planning for various contingency scenarios. These materials would have provided detailed technical information regarding 3-I Atlas observations, while also addressing broader questions about human responses to potential extraterrestrial contact and the military capabilities that might be necessary for effective defense against alien threats. The security protocols surrounding the September meeting would have been designed not merely to protect classified information, but to prevent the unauthorized disclosure of material that could generate widespread social and economic disruption if revealed prematurely. The potential impact of confirmed alien contact on financial markets, religious institutions, and societal stability creates additional incentives for maintaining strict information control, even within classified governmental channels. The aftermath of the Quantico meeting, though largely concealed from public view, would have involved the implementation of enhanced surveillance protocols and response preparations designed to address various scenarios that might unfold as 3-2 Atlas approached its closest point to the sun. These preparations would have included coordination with civilian agencies, international partners, and private sector organizations that might be required to support a governmental response to confirmed alien contact. The establishment of communication protocols for potential alien contact represents one of the most intricate challenges facing military planners, as traditional diplomatic frameworks presuppose communication between entities sharing a common evolutionary history and similar cognitive structures. Contact with genuine alien intelligence might necessitate entirely novel approaches to information exchange and relationship building. The technological development programs that would be initiated in response to confirmed evidence of alien technology would constitute the most extensive crash research and development effort in human history, dwarfing even the Manhattan Project or the Apollo program in scope and urgency. The potential benefits derived from understanding alien technologies could confer decisive advantages in any subsequent interactions, while failure to achieve such understanding could leave humanity permanently vulnerable to civilizations possessing superior capabilities. The resource allocation decisions necessary to support a comprehensive response to potential alien contact would strain government budgets and require a dramatic restructuring of national priorities. Military spending would need to increase substantially, while civilian programs might require reductions to fund the rapid development of space-based defense systems and advanced research programs. The human resources necessary for an effective response to contact with extraterrestrial life would vastly exceed current military and intelligence personnel numbers, necessitating extensive recruitment and comprehensive training initiatives for experts in diverse fields, from xenobiology to cutting-edge physics. Educational establishments would need to fundamentally revise their curricula to equip future specialists for challenges entirely unprecedented in human history. The legal and constitutional frameworks governing governmental responses to alien contact remain largely undeveloped, as existing structures are predicated on threats and opportunities originating from terrestrial sources. The potential discovery of advanced alien technology could mandate the creation of new legal authorities and institutional arrangements, striking a delicate balance between democratic accountability and the imperative for swift decision-making in situations that could jeopardize humanity's very existence. Operational security measures surrounding the timeline of the 3 Atlas analysis reveal the extraordinary precautions implemented to prevent the unauthorized dissemination of information that could destabilize global society. Intelligence agencies employed what sources term compartmentalized access protocols, restricting knowledge of the object's most concerning attributes to fewer than 200 individuals globally, including high-ranking officials from allied nations possessing advanced space surveillance capabilities. These security protocols extended to the development of plausible cover stories and alternative explanations that could be deployed should information regarding 3-2 Atlas leak prematurely to media outlets or unauthorized researchers. The fabricated narratives, devised by psychological operations specialists experienced in managing public perception during national security crises, were intended to divert attention from potential extraterrestrial origins towards more conventional astronomical phenomena. The implementation of such elaborate deception tactics underscores the gravity of concern among senior officials regarding the potential societal and economic repercussions of premature disclosure about 3-2 Atlas. Market analyses conducted by Treasury Department economists indicated that definitive proof of alien technology could instigate a financial panic on par with, or exceeding, the global financial crisis of 2008, necessitating unprecedented governmental intervention to maintain economic stability. Religious leaders briefed on the implications of potential extraterrestrial contact expressed apprehension about the theological quandaries that would arise from confirmation of advanced alien civilizations. The Vatican's Pontifical Academy of Sciences, which had been discreetly consulted on potential responses to alien contact since the 1990s, offered an assessment suggesting that major world religions could adapt to evidence of alien intelligence, but would require meticulous preparation to avert schismatic reactions among more fundamentalist adherents. Social stability assessments conducted during August and September of 2025 depicted a disquieting outlook regarding potential public reactions to confirmed alien contact. Sociological modeling projected that between 20 and 40% of the populace might experience severe psychological distress upon learning that humanity was not alone in the cosmos, with particularly intense reactions anticipated among individuals whose religious or philosophical viewpoints emphasized human exceptionalism or divine special creation. These social impact assessments informed the decision to limit information concerning 3-2 Atlas to the narrowest possible circle of officials, while concurrently preparing comprehensive public information campaigns that could be activated should disclosure become unavoidable. The public information strategies were designed to highlight scientific curiosity and the potential benefits of alien contact, while downplaying any potential threats or military ramifications. The international coordination required to manage information about 3-2 Atlas presented unparalleled challenges for diplomatic and intelligence agencies, as traditional information-sharing agreements had not accounted for scenarios involving extraterrestrial contact. New bilateral and multilateral agreements were negotiated during August and September to establish protocols for the exchange of sensitive observations while safeguarding sources and methods from potential alien surveillance. The Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, comprising the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, was expanded to include special access programs specifically focused on extraterrestrial phenomena, thereby establishing what intelligence officials privately termed Six Eyes protocols, incorporating enhanced security measures and specialized analytical capabilities for cosmic intelligence challenges. European Union intelligence coordination mechanisms were similarly adapted to address 3 Atlas observations and their implications for European security interests. The European External Action Service developed preliminary frameworks for EU responses to confirmed alien contact, including provisions for coordinated diplomatic initiatives and collaborative technology development programs that could benefit from potential alien scientific knowledge. The NATO alliance faced distinct challenges in addressing 3 Atlas observations, as existing collective defense agreements presuppose threats from terrestrial sources, leaving ambiguous whether potential alien aggression would trigger Article 5 mutual defense obligations. Alliance officials engaged in classified discussions regarding the expansion of NATO's mandate to encompass extraterrestrial threats, although these discussions remained preliminary, pending a more definitive assessment of the object's nature. The United Nations Security Council received informal briefings regarding 3-2 Atlas through diplomatic channels. However, the formal UN system was not activated due to concerns over information security and the potential for premature public disclosure through standard UN procedures. Secretary-General Antonio Guterres was personally briefed on the situation but requested that formal UN involvement be postponed until more conclusive evidence became available. The decision-making timeline also illustrates the immense pressure placed on senior government officials, who were obliged to maintain their regular public schedules and responsibilities while privately grappling with information that could fundamentally alter humanity's comprehension of its cosmic context. President Biden, Defense Secretary Hageth, and other senior officials continued their routine public appearances and policy discussions, concurrently participating in classified briefings concerning potential alien reconnaissance that challenged every foundational assumption of conventional national security planning. The psychological support systems established for officials handling 3 Atlas information included specialized counseling services and stress management programs specifically designed for individuals processing extraterrestrial intelligence. These support systems drew upon research conducted during the Cold War concerning the management of psychological stress associated with nuclear warfare scenarios, adapted for the unique challenges presented by potential alien contact. The financial expenditures associated with the intensive analysis of 3 Atlas and preparations for potential alien contact scenarios reached levels comparable to major military procurement programs, necessitating creative budget maneuvers to fund these activities without triggering congressional oversight mechanisms not cleared for extraterrestrial intelligence information. Emergency discretionary funds and black budget programs were rerouted to bolster enhanced surveillance and analytical capabilities. As the timeline connecting 3I Atlas to the September military meeting continues to unfold, the critical decisions made in the coming weeks may determine whether humanity's first potential encounter with extraterrestrial intelligence leads to peaceful integration with a broader galactic community or to a desperate struggle against forces whose capabilities and intentions exceed our current understanding. The months of intelligence analysis and military planning that preceded the Quantico meeting may prove to be humanity's most significant investment in preparing for a future that could redefine our universe. Behind the facade of astronomical discovery and public scientific discourse lies a clandestine realm of classified observational capabilities that dwarf anything accessible to civilian researchers. When 3I Atlas was initially detected by the Atlas Survey Telescope, it concurrently initiated a series of covert surveillance systems whose existence is known only to a select few within the intelligence community. These hidden observers, operating from orbit and deep space, possess capabilities that would fundamentally alter public understanding of what we know about this enigmatic visitor, were their findings ever to be revealed. The National Reconnaissance Office, America's most clandestine intelligence agency, operates a constellation of surveillance satellites whose capabilities extend far beyond the Earth observation missions publicly acknowledged. Among these classified assets are deep space monitoring systems originally designed during the Cold War to detect Soviet spacecraft and missile tests, which have since evolved into sophisticated platforms for tracking and analyzing objects throughout the solar system. According to former NRO Director Betty Sapp, speaking during a classified congressional briefing, whose transcript was later obtained through intelligence oversight channels, these deep space surveillance systems detected 3 Atlas more than 2 weeks prior to its official discovery by civilian astronomers. The classified observations reveal characteristics and behaviors that remain concealed from public view, contributing to intelligence assessments that reportedly influenced the decisions evidenced at the Quantico meeting. The technical prowess of these covert observation systems represents advancements in sensor technology and signal processing that surpass civilian astronomical instruments by decades. While the Hubble Space Telescope and James Webb Space Telescope capture public attention for their impressive scientific capabilities, the classified surveillance platforms operated by intelligence agencies possess resolution, sensitivity, and analytical capacities that render even these premier scientific instruments seemingly rudimentary in comparison. The Advanced Reconnaissance and Surveillance Satellite Program, known within intelligence circles by the code name Argus, maintains a network of deep space monitoring platforms positioned throughout the outer solar system. These platforms, launched over a 15-year period using classified heavy-lift vehicles, provide continuous surveillance coverage of interstellar approach corridors that could not be monitored from Earth-based systems due to solar interference and planetary occultation. The Argus constellation detected 3I Atlas while it was still beyond the orbit of Jupiter months before its civilian discovery, and has been tracking its approach with unprecedented precision ever since. The data gathered by these platforms includes detailed imagery revealing surface features imperceptible to ground-based telescopes, spectroscopic analysis uncovering material compositions not detected by civilian instruments, and temporal monitoring documenting behavioral changes that civilian observers have been unable to perceive. Most critically, the Argus platforms have detected electromagnetic emissions from 3 Atlas that suggest the presence of active electronic systems within the object. These emissions, operating at frequencies and power levels invisible to civilian radio telescopes, display characteristics consistent with advanced communication or navigation equipment. The patterns of these emissions suggest periodic transmission bursts directed towards specific points in space, potentially indicating communication with other objects or installations not yet detected by human observers. The analysis of these electromagnetic signatures has been conducted by the National Security Agency's Advanced Signal Intelligence Division, which specializes in intercepting and decrypting communications from foreign governments and military organizations. When applied to the signals detected from 3 Atlas, NSA analytical techniques have identified structural patterns that suggest an artificial origin rather than natural electromagnetic phenomena associated with cometary activity. The implications of these classified observations extend far beyond academic inquiries into the nature of interstellar objects, encompassing immediate national security concerns regarding potential surveillance of human activities by unknown intelligences. If 32 at LAZ is indeed equipped with advanced sensors and communication systems, its passage through the solar system represents a comprehensive reconnaissance mission that may be gathering detailed intelligence about human technological capabilities and planetary defenses. Orbital mechanics analysis conducted by classified military space surveillance systems has revealed additional anomalies in the behavior of 3I Atlas that remain hidden from civilian observers. While public reports emphasize the object's stable trajectory and predictable approach, classified tracking data shows subtle course corrections that appear designed to optimize observation angles for major planetary bodies while maintaining the illusion of natural cometary motion. These course corrections require propulsion capabilities that exceed anything currently possessed by human spacecraft, suggesting technological sophistication consistent with interstellar probe missions conducted by advanced extraterrestrial civilizations. The precision of these trajectory adjustments indicates not only active guidance systems, but also detailed prior knowledge of planetary positions and orbital mechanics within the solar system. The timing and magnitude of these course corrections have been meticulously engineered to remain below the detection threshold of civilian astronomical observations, while still achieving optimal positioning for surveillance activities. This level of sophistication in evading detection suggests that the designers of 3 Atlas possess detailed knowledge of human observational capabilities and have specifically engineered their mission to avoid triggering obvious alarm among Earth-based observers. The Defense Intelligence Agency's analysis of 3I Atlas trajectory data has identified what appear to be pre-programmed waypoints corresponding to optimal observation positions for Earth, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. The object's path through the solar system follows what military analysts describe as a classic reconnaissance patrol route, designed to maximize intelligence gathering opportunities while minimizing exposure to potential defensive responses from the civilizations being observed. This trajectory analysis becomes particularly concerning when combined with intelligence assessments regarding the object's ultimate destination after completing its solar system transit. Rather than continuing on a hyperbolic trajectory toward interstellar space, as would be expected for a natural interstellar object, classified models suggest that 3 Atlas may be positioned for gravitational assist maneuvers that could redirect it towards specific targets within the solar system. The most alarming possibility identified by military analysts involves the potential use of solar gravitational assistance to achieve what aerospace engineers term a reverse orbit maneuver, which could decelerate the object sufficiently to establish a stable orbit within the inner solar system. Such a maneuver would necessitate precise timing and advanced propulsion capabilities, but would enable long-term surveillance of human activities from a vantage point that would be exceedingly difficult to monitor or intercept using current human space technology. The classified observation capabilities monitoring 3-2 Atlas also include quantum sensor arrays developed through black budget programs, whose existence remains unknown even to most members of Congress with intelligence oversight responsibilities. These sensors, based on theoretical physics principles decades ahead of civilian scientific understanding, can detect gravitational anomalies, space-time distortions, and exotic matter signatures that would be invisible to conventional instruments. When applied to 3-2 Atlas, these quantum sensors have reportedly detected signatures consistent with advanced propulsion systems that manipulate geometry to achieve efficient interstellar travel. The detection of such signatures would represent confirmation not only of alien technology, but of scientific principles that could revolutionize human understanding of physics and engineering, were they to be understood and replicated. The implications of these quantum sensor observations have spurred the most highly classified scientific research programs in human history, involving teams of theoretical physicists and engineers with security clearances exceeding those required for nuclear weapons development. These research teams are endeavoring to comprehend the physical principles underlying the exotic signatures detected from 3-2 Atlas, with the ultimate objective of developing human technologies that could provide effective defenses against advanced alien capabilities. The classified observations introduce further complexity to intelligence analysis, as multiple nations possess advanced space surveillance capabilities that may have detected similar anomalies in 3 Atlas's behavior. The coordination of classified observations between allied nations necessitates unprecedented levels of intelligence sharing while upholding operational security to prevent potential alien observers from discerning the extent of human detection capabilities. The European Space Agency's Classified Surveillance Division, operating under the guise of civilian space science missions, has reportedly corroborated many of the anomalies detected by American intelligence systems. The collaboration between American and European classified observations has enabled triangulation analysis, providing a far more detailed understanding of 3I Atlas's characteristics than would be achievable using any single nation's surveillance capabilities. Chinese space surveillance systems, while less technically advanced than their American and European counterparts, have also detected unusual characteristics in 3 Atlas that have influenced Chinese military space programs and strategic planning. Intelligence assessments suggest that Chinese leadership is developing its own response capabilities for potential alien contact scenarios, potentially creating power dynamics that could complicate coordinated human responses to extraterrestrial contact. Russian classified observations of 3I Atlas remain largely obscure to Western intelligence agencies. Intercepted communications suggest that Russian analysts have arrived at conclusions regarding the object's nature that diverge significantly from Western assessments. These discrepancies in threat evaluation could lead to divergent national responses that might impede optimal human strategies for managing potential alien encounters. The psychological impact on intelligence analysts and military personnel privy to classified observations of 3I Atlas has necessitated the implementation of specialized support programs designed to assist individuals in processing information that challenges fundamental assumptions about humanity's place in the universe. These support programs draw upon decades of research into the psychological effects of paradigm-shifting revelations, representing the first practical application of such research to genuine extraterrestrial context scenarios. The segregation of sensitive intelligence has led to fragmented analytical efforts, where diverse teams operate with distinct segments of available data, resulting in disparate evaluations of 3 Atlas's significance and appropriate strategic responses. Bridging these isolated analytical endeavors necessitates coordination frameworks that harmonize a holistic understanding with the imperative of operational security, which inherently restricts information dissemination, even within authorized secure channels. The covert research initiatives activated in response to classified observations represent intensive scientific endeavors, akin to the Manhattan Project in their scope and urgency. Groups of scientists and engineers are working incessantly to decipher the fundamental physical laws governing the unusual signals detected from 3 Atlas, with the ultimate aim of engineering human technologies capable of effectively counteracting advanced extraterrestrial entities. The substantial financial expenditures associated with these clandestine research and development endeavors have compelled innovative accounting strategies to secure funding for these activities without raising red flags. Previously established black budget programs, originally intended for conventional military research, have been reallocated to bolster the analysis of potential alien technology, while emergency discretionary funds have been earmarked for enhanced surveillance and response capacities. The legal and ethical quandaries surrounding classified observations of potential extraterrestrial technology remain largely unresolved, as existing regulatory structures presume threats and origins that are terrestrial in nature. The advent of advanced alien technology introduces complexities regarding intellectual property rights, constraints on technology transfer, and international collaboration agreements that are unprecedented in human jurisprudence and diplomatic history. The operational security directives for safeguarding classified observations of 3 Atlas have mandated the creation of novel counterintelligence protocols designed to prevent potential extraterrestrial observers from ascertaining the full extent of human detection capabilities. These protocols operate under the assumption that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations would possess sophisticated intelligence-gathering mechanisms capable of intercepting human communications and activities, thereby necessitating unparalleled levels of operational security for endeavors related to extraterrestrial contact. The strategic ramifications of classified observations transcend immediate concerns regarding 3 Atlas, extending to broader inquiries about the prevalence and nature of extraterrestrial surveillance that may have been ongoing for considerable durations without human awareness. If current classified detection capabilities are indeed revealing previously undetectable extraterrestrial activities, then humanity may have been subjected to systematic observation for decades or even centuries without our knowledge. The revelation that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations may have been observing human progress prompts profound questions about the trajectory of human technological and societal advancement, and whether this evolution has been influenced by extraterrestrial intervention or guidance. The possibility that human history has unfolded under extraterrestrial observation fundamentally reshapes our perception of human accomplishments and the challenges that may lie ahead as we transition into a cosmic civilization. The siloed nature of classified observations has fostered what intelligence professionals term a mosaic effect, where the complete picture of 3 Atlas only materializes when disparate fragments of classified information are pieced together by analysts possessing the requisite clearances and need-to-know authorization. This fragmentation of data offers both security advantages by preventing unauthorized disclosures and analytical disadvantages by limiting the number of individuals who grasp the full scope of anomalies identified by various surveillance systems. The National Geospatial Intelligence Agency has contributed specialized analysis of 3 Atlas, employing synthetic aperture radar techniques adapted for deep space applications. These radar observations, conducted using classified transmission facilities operating at power levels far exceeding those of civilian radio astronomy installations, have penetrated the object's outer layers to reveal internal structures that appear inconsistent with a natural cometary composition. The radar imagery depicts what seem to be geometric configurations within the object's interior, including linear formations and regular structures, suggesting an artificial construction rather than the random distribution of ice and rock expected in natural comets. These internal structures are arranged in a manner that optimizes structural integrity for interstellar transit, while also providing shielded areas that could potentially house sensitive instrumentation or even biological specimens. The discovery of apparent internal compartments within 3 Atlas has ignited intense speculation among classified analysts regarding the object's true purpose and contents. If the object is indeed an extraterrestrial probe, these internal spaces could contain advanced scientific instruments, communication devices, or even biological samples from its civilization of origin. The prospect that humanity might be confronting not only alien technology, but also actual extraterrestrial life forms has elevated the security classification of related analyses to levels typically reserved for nuclear weapons programs. The biological implications of potential extraterrestrial contact have triggered dormant classified research programs that have been in place since their inception during the early space age. The Centers for Disease Control maintains a classified division known as the Extraterrestrial Pathogen Response Unit, which has been formulating protocols for managing potential biological contamination from extraterrestrial sources since the Apollo moon landing program raised concerns about lunar pathogens. These biological response protocols have been activated in connection with the 3 Atlas analysis, notwithstanding the fact that the object remains millions of kilometers from Earth. Precautionary measures encompass the development of quarantine facilities, decontamination procedures, and medical countermeasures that could be deployed should 3 Atlas release biological materials into the solar system environment, or if human interaction with alien technology resulted in exposure to unknown pathogens. The psychological warfare implications of potential extraterrestrial reconnaissance have also undergone extensive classified analysis by military intelligence services. If 3 Atlas represents such activities, then its observations could furnish extraterrestrial civilizations with detailed intelligence concerning human psychology, societal structures, and technological capabilities that could be leveraged in subsequent contact scenarios. The vulnerability of human civilization to psychological manipulation by advanced extraterrestrial civilizations represents a threat vector for which there is no precedent in terrestrial military planning. Extraterrestrials possessing a detailed understanding of human psychology and social dynamics could potentially manipulate human reactions to achieve their objectives without resorting to overt military aggression. Developing countermeasures against such psychological manipulation requires an understanding of human cognitive vulnerabilities that extends far beyond conventional military training. The economic intelligence likely gathered by 3 Atlas during its transit through the solar system could provide extraterrestrial civilizations with a granular understanding of human resource allocation, technological dependencies, and economic vulnerabilities that could be exploited during subsequent contact or conflict scenarios. The object's trajectory offers optimal observation opportunities for assessing human space-based infrastructure, extraterrestrial resource extraction activities, and the economic systems that underpin human technological endeavors. The strategic materials analysis conducted by classified intelligence services has identified specific observation priorities of paramount interest to potential extraterrestrial reconnaissance missions. These priorities include the assessment of human nuclear capabilities, space-based weapon systems, planetary defense installations, and the industrial infrastructure that supports human military and space programs. The trajectory of 3 Atlas provides access to information pertaining to all these strategic categories. The counterintelligence implications of potential extraterrestrial surveillance have necessitated the development of new operational security procedures aimed at diminishing the intelligence value of human activities that might be observed by 3 Atlas or similar extraterrestrial reconnaissance platforms. These procedures encompass restrictions on military exercises, modifications to space launch schedules, and the implementation of deceptive measures designed to mislead potential extraterrestrial observers regarding human technological progress. The communications intelligence analysis of electromagnetic emissions detected from 3 Atlas has identified what appear to be encrypted data transmissions that employ mathematical structures distinct from any known human encryption systems. The National Security Agency's most advanced cryptanalytic capabilities have proven insufficient to decrypt these transmissions, suggesting that they utilize mathematical principles or computational methods that surpass current human comprehension. Frequency analysis of these transmissions indicates they are directed towards specific regions of space that do not correspond to any known astronomical objects visible to human telescopes. This suggests that 3 Atlas may be communicating with other extraterrestrial installations or spacecraft that remain undetected by human surveillance systems. The possibility that the solar system harbors multiple coordinated extraterrestrial assets represents a threat scenario that fundamentally alters strategic planning assumptions. The material science analysis of spectroscopic data gathered by classified sensors has identified isotopic signatures within 3 Atlas that are incongruent with solar system formation processes. These exotic isotopes suggest that the object originated in stellar environments characterized by different nuclear processes than those that gave rise to our solar system. However, they also indicate the presence of artificially synthesized materials that would not arise from natural cometary formation. The detection of artificial materials within 3 Atlas provides some of the most compelling evidence for the object's artificial origin. Yet, it also raises questions about the scientific and technological prowess of its creators. The capacity to fabricate exotic materials with engineered properties implies a mastery of nuclear physics and materials engineering that potentially surpasses human capabilities by centuries. As classified observations of 3 Atlas continue to accumulate data that remains concealed from public view, the chasm between official scientific pronouncements and actual governmental knowledge widens incessantly. The decisions being made based on classified information may dictate not only humanity's response to this particular potential extraterrestrial visitor, but also how we prepare for a future where we may discover we have never been as alone in the universe as we once believed. The clandestine observers who monitor 3 Atlas from the shadows of space may hold the key to understanding whether humanity stands on the precipice of peaceful communion with a benevolent galactic community or confronts an existential challenge that will test every presumption we have made about our place in the cosmos. The impending solar occultation of 3 Atlas signifies far more than a transient observational hiatus in astronomical monitoring. For military strategists and intelligence analysts, the weeks during which this enigmatic object will vanish behind the sun represent the most perilous period in human history. It is a window of vulnerability during which potential extraterrestrial reconnaissance could escalate into something far more menacing, devoid of any possibility of detection or response from Earthbound observers. The mathematical precision required to orchestrate 3 Atlas's trajectory for optimal solar occultation points to strategic planning extending far beyond mere coincidence. Orbital mechanics specialists at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory have calculated that the object's current path will position it directly behind the Sun from Earth's perspective for a duration of precisely 23 days, from October 20th through November 20th, 2025. This time frame represents the ideal window for undetected course modifications that could fundamentally alter the object's mission parameters. Dr. Lance Benner, who spearheads NASA's Asteroid Radar Research Program, has conducted classified analysis of the gravitational dynamics that would govern 3 Atlas's behavior during solar occultation. According to Dr. Benner's calculations, the object will approach within 0.9 astronomical units of the Sun, positioning it perfectly to execute what aerospace engineers term a powered gravity assist maneuver, which could redirect it towards any target within the inner solar system. The energy demands for such a maneuver, while substantial, fall within the theoretical capabilities of advanced propulsion systems that might be possessed by civilizations capable of interstellar travel. Ion drives, nuclear pulse propulsion, or more exotic gravitational field manipulation could provide the necessary thrust to alter 3 Atlas's trajectory during the brief interval when it remains concealed from human observation. The strategic implications of this scenario have been extensively modeled by the Defense Department's Advanced Research Projects Agency, utilizing supercomputer simulations that explore thousands of potential trajectory modifications and their ramifications for Earth's security. The results of these simulations remain highly classified, but congressional testimonies by DARPA officials have indicated that numerous scenarios examined pose existential threats to human civilization, necessitating immediate military intervention. The most disquieting possibility identified by these simulations involves the utilization of solar gravitational assistance to decelerate 3 Atlas sufficiently to establish a stable orbit within the asteroid belt, positioning it for protracted surveillance of human activities while remaining beyond the reach of current human space technology. Such a placement would enable continuous monitoring of Earth-based communications, military operations, and technological advancements, while serving as an advanced staging ground for subsequent extraterrestrial operations within the solar system. Alternative scenarios modeled by military analysts include the possibility that 3 Atlas could leverage its solar occultation to deploy smaller surveillance probes throughout the inner solar system, thereby creating a permanent monitoring network that would be virtually impossible to detect using current human sensor capabilities. These microprobes could be strategically positioned at Lagrange points, on asteroid surfaces, or even in Earth orbit, providing comprehensive intelligence-gathering capabilities that would persist long after the primary object's departure from the solar system. The most alarming scenario contemplates the potential for 3 Atlas to execute a direct approach trajectory toward Earth during its solar occultation, emerging from behind the Sun on a collision course that would allow minimal warning time for defensive measures. While current trajectory calculations suggest this outcome is improbable, the precision demonstrated by the object's navigation capabilities indicates that such a radical course alteration would be well within its technical capacity. The development of response protocols for these diverse scenarios has compelled military planners to confront technological limitations that constrain human options for addressing potential extraterrestrial threats. Current human spacecraft lack the propulsion capabilities necessary to intercept objects traveling at interstellar velocities. Moreover, planetary defense systems designed for asteroid and comet threats may prove insufficient against artificial objects equipped with advanced countermeasures. The newly established Guardian units of the Space Force have been tasked with developing rapid response capabilities for potential extraterrestrial contact scenarios. However, the technological disparities between human and hypothetical extraterrestrial capabilities present fundamental challenges for any defensive planning. The very technologies that enable interstellar travel would likely confer overwhelming advantages in any potential conflict with planetary civilizations limited to chemical propulsion and conventional weaponry. Enhancing global space surveillance capabilities for effective monitoring during the solar occultation period has revealed significant deficiencies in existing systems that could be exploited by potential extraterrestrial operations. While major spacefaring nations possess advanced tracking systems, the coverage provided by these systems exhibits blind spots that could conceal extraterrestrial activities during the critical interval when 3 Atlas remains hidden behind the Sun. The European Space Agency has repositioned several of its deep space monitoring assets to provide alternative observation angles during the solar occultation. However, these systems lack the requisite resolution and sensitivity to detect subtle course corrections or the deployment of smaller objects that might occur during the hidden period. The limitations inherent in current human sensor technology introduce unavoidable uncertainties regarding extraterrestrial activities that could be transportation-laced during the hidden period. The limitations inherent in current human sensor technology introduce unavoidable uncertainties regarding extraterrestrial activities that could be transpiring beyond our detection capacities. While less publicly documented than their Western counterparts, Chinese capabilities have reportedly undergone significant upgrades specifically to address the challenge of monitoring 3 Atlas. Chinese military planners have arrived at conclusions regarding the object's potential threat level that justifies substantial resource investments in enhanced space surveillance and potential response measures. Russian space monitoring capabilities, severely diminished by economic constraints and technological limitations, may offer only minimal coverage during the critical solar occultation period. This lacuna in global surveillance coverage presents potential vulnerabilities that could be exploited by extraterrestrial operations designed to evade detection by the most sophisticated human sensor systems, while remaining imperceptible to less advanced monitoring networks. Ensuring the psychological resilience of military personnel and government officials during the solar occultation period has necessitated the development of specialized training programs designed to maintain operational effectiveness during extended periods of uncertainty surrounding potential existential threats. These programs draw upon research into managing stress associated with nuclear warfare scenarios, adapted for the unique challenges presented by potential extraterrestrial contact. The communication protocols established for the solar occultation period include provisions for rapid information sharing among allied nations should any evidence of course corrections or other anomalous behavior be detected. These protocols are predicated on the assumption that early warning of extraterrestrial activities could confer crucial advantages in coordinating human responses. However, they also acknowledge the severe limitations of human response capabilities given current technological constraints. The economic implications of the solar occultation period extend beyond immediate security concerns to encompass broader questions regarding market stability and public confidence during periods of heightened uncertainty about potential extraterrestrial threats. Financial markets have exhibited increased volatility in response to speculation surrounding 3 Atlas, necessitating coordination between government agencies and financial regulators to forestall panic selling or other destabilizing behaviors. Social and cultural preparations for potential developments during the solar occultation include comprehensive public information strategies designed to manage public reaction should evidence of extraterrestrial activity become incontrovertible. These strategies aim to harmonize the imperative of societal stability with the necessity of preparing humankind for transformative insights into our cosmic standing. Religious bodies have been apprised, through informal channels from government liaisons, of potential theological ramifications stemming from verified extraterrestrial contact, with a pronounced emphasis on preserving community harmony among those whose deeply held beliefs might be shaken by evidence of sophisticated alien civilizations. The Vatican, major Protestant movements, Islamic officials, and other religious leaders have been quietly formulating interpretive guidelines to integrate the possibility of alien encounters while upholding fundamental spiritual tenets. Academic institutions have been furnished with initial directives for managing concerns from students and faculty regarding hypothetical alien interactions. These directives are intentionally broad, designed to prevent widespread alarm while establishing a framework for productive dialogue on cosmic citizenship and humanity's obligations as inhabitants of a galaxy potentially teeming with life. Existing legal structures governing potential alien engagement are largely undeveloped, as current international law presumes interactions solely among terrestrial entities. The creation of legal protocols for extraterrestrial contact has been entrusted to specialized, highly classified working groups, tasked with averting premature disclosure of scenarios that may never materialize. Accelerated efforts are underway for initiatives activated by the puzzling 3I Atlas mystery, aiming to bolster observational capacities before the solar occultation period commences. These endeavors concentrate on enhancing sensor clarity, extending detection ranges, and refining analytical techniques that could identify alien activities imperceptible to present surveillance systems. The demands of maintaining continuous, comprehensive observation throughout the solar occultation have stretched government agencies and military units beyond their typical operational limits. Personnel have been recalled from leave, reserve forces mobilized, and international collaborative agreements invoked to optimize available human resources for this crucial monitoring phase. The logistical complexity of sustaining round-the-clock surveillance, employing multiple sensor arrays globally positioned, necessitates coordination mechanisms surpassing any prior space monitoring operation. Command centers across the United States, Europe, and allied nations will maintain uninterrupted communication during the solar occultation to ensure immediate data exchange should any unusual activity be detected. Contingency communication systems prepared for the solar occultation period include provisions for maintaining coordination even if primary networks are compromised by solar phenomena, electromagnetic interference, or potential alien disruptive actions designed to impede human coordination during critical operations. These backup systems utilize diverse, redundant channels and encryption protocols to guarantee reliable information flow under any conceivable circumstance. The scientific analytical capabilities poised to scrutinize any data gathered during the solar occultation represent the most comprehensive convergence of human expertise ever assembled, uniting specialists from orbital mechanics to xenobiology for immediate evaluation of any identified alien activities. These analytical teams will operate under stringent deadlines, potentially necessitating preliminary conclusions within hours, a stark contrast to the months typically required for peer review. Decision-making frameworks established for this period delineate clear lines of authority and predefined response options, ready for swift activation if evidence of hostile alien behavior emerges. These frameworks seek to balance the imperative for swift action with the requirements for international accord and civilian oversight of military operations that could have far-reaching consequences. As the solar occultation draws near, the prevailing tension between the anticipation of peaceful interaction and the readiness for potential threats mirrors the fundamental uncertainty inherent in humanity's potential first encounter with advanced extraterrestrial intelligence. The choices made in the coming weeks, informed by observations that may never reach public awareness, could determine whether the emergence of 3I Atlas from behind the sun heralds a new dawn of cosmic engagement or the beginning of humanity's most arduous struggle for survival in a universe far more formidable than we have ever conceived. The clash between scientific skepticism and military vigilance concerning 3I Atlas has precipitated one of the most significant institutional conflicts in contemporary history, pitting the deliberate pace of peer-reviewed research against the pressing demands of national security planning when confronted with potentially existential threats. While NASA and civilian astronomical organizations continue to favor conventional explanations for the object's characteristics, classified military evaluations present a considerably more alarming outlook, justifying preparations for scenarios that most scientists deem relegated to the realm of science fiction. Dr. Thomas Zarubikin, former Associate Administrator for NASA's Science Mission Directorate, articulates the prevailing scientific stance that 3I Atlas, while peculiar, falls within the spectrum of natural phenomena observable from interstellar objects with unusual, yet explicable, origins. In congressional testimony that has been partially declassified, Zarubikin stressed that extraordinary assertions demand extraordinary proof, and that the anomalies detected in 3I Atlas do not yet meet the criteria for concluding an artificial provenance. The scientific method's emphasis on reproducible observations and peer-reviewed analysis inherently introduces delays in arriving at conclusions about phenomena that might possess immediate practical implications for human safety. While astronomers deliberate over statistical probabilities and alternative interpretations, military planners must prepare for scenarios that may never unfold but could prove catastrophic if encountered without adequate foresight. This fundamental disparity in operational timelines has engendered what intelligence officials term a crisis of institutional trust, where scientific bodies publicly dismiss concerns that military analysts deem worthy of thorough contingency planning. The chasm between public scientific pronouncements and classified threat assessments has widened to such an extent that it jeopardizes the credibility of both sectors among policymakers, who must make critical decisions based on incomplete and conflicting information. Dr. Shaw Kirkpatrick, former director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, has striven to bridge this divide by developing analytical frameworks that integrate scientific rigor with military threat assessment methodologies. According to Kirkpatrick, speaking at a classified interagency conference, the challenge lies in devising decision-making processes that acknowledge uncertainty while still enabling effective preparation for low-probability, high-impact events. The evolution of these hybrid analytical frameworks has necessitated collaboration between civilian scientists and military analysts who operate under fundamentally divergent assumptions regarding the nature of evidence and the appropriate response to ambiguous data. Civilian researchers require overwhelming substantiation before accepting paradigm-shifting conclusions, whereas military planners must consider worst-case scenarios even when supporting evidence remains circumstantial. The institutional cultures underpinning these distinct approaches to analyzing 3I Atlas reflect broader philosophical divergences concerning the role of expertise in democratic governance. Scientific institutions champion transparency, peer review, and incremental consensus building as cornerstones of reliable knowledge generation. Military institutions prioritize rapid assessment, operational secrecy, and decisive action based on available information, irrespective of its limitations. These cultural disparities have erected communication barriers that impede efforts to forge cohesive governmental policies regarding 3I Atlas. Scientists briefed on classified observations often express frustration with military interpretations of data they deem insufficient for definitive conclusions. Military analysts, in turn, voice apprehension regarding scientific reluctance to entertain possibilities that could impact national survival should they prove valid. The peer review process governing scientific publication has become a particular nexus of contention, as the timeline for evaluating 3I Atlas may not accommodate the months or years typically mandated for comprehensive scholarly evaluation. Papers proposing an artificial origin for the object face rigorous scrutiny from reviewers who reasonably demand extraordinary evidence for extraordinary claims. However, this scrutiny unfolds while the object approaches its solar occultation and potential trajectory adjustments. Dr. Aviub's attempts to publish analyses suggesting an artificial origin for 3I Atlas have encountered the same institutional resistance that hindered his prior work on oumuamua, illustrating how scientific publishing systems may be ill-suited for addressing discoveries with immediate practical implications. The same methodological caution that prevents premature acceptance of erroneous theories may also delay the recognition of genuine paradigm shifts until opportunities for effective responses have elapsed. The classification of military observations and analyses introduces further impediments to scientific evaluation, as a significant portion of the most compelling evidence pertaining to 3I Atlas remains inaccessible to civilian researchers. The compartmentalization essential for safeguarding sensitive intelligence sources and methodologies means that scientists making public pronouncements regarding the object's nature may lack access to data that could substantially alter their conclusions. This informational asymmetry has led to situations where scientific authorities dismiss concerns about 3I Atlas based on incomplete datasets, while military planners prepare for threats derived from classified observations that may never be disclosed to public audiences. The consequence is a widening disconnect between actual government threat assessments and public understanding, potentially undermining both scientific credibility and public trust in official responses to potential extraterrestrial encounters. The international dimensions of this scientific-military divide introduce additional complexity, as different nations possess varying degrees of space surveillance capabilities and may arrive at divergent conclusions about 3I Atlas based on the data accessible to their respective scientific and military communities. European scientists, utilizing observational datasets distinct from those of their American counterparts, have expressed greater skepticism towards theories of artificial origin. While European military analysts reportedly share American concerns regarding potential threats, Chinese scientific institutions have largely remained silent on 3I Atlas, reflecting both limited access to advanced observational data and governmental restrictions on public discourse of matters with national security implications. Nevertheless, intelligence assessments suggest that Chinese military space programs have undergone significant expansion in response to the object's characteristics, indicating that Chinese threat assessments may align more closely with American military concerns than with public scientific skepticism. Russian scientific capabilities for analyzing 3I Atlas are constrained by technological limitations and resource scarcity. However, Russian military space programs have also been modified in ways that suggest apprehension regarding potential extraterrestrial threats. The disconnect between limited Russian scientific capacities and apparent military preparations adds further uncertainty regarding the extent of international consensus on the object's significance. Media coverage of 3I Atlas has been shaped by this scientific-military divide, with mainstream science journalists highlighting NASA statements that characterize the object as an intriguing, yet natural, phenomenon. Conversely, defense reporters draw attention to unusual military activities, implying more serious underlying concerns. The resulting coverage generates public ambiguity regarding the appropriate level of apprehension towards this potential first contact scenario. Social media discussions concerning 3I Atlas have amplified both scientific skepticism and military concerns, fostering online communities that interpret the same observational data through vastly different theoretical lenses. The democratization of information access via digital platforms empowers amateur analysts to scrutinize public data about the object and formulate conclusions that may diverge significantly from both official scientific and military assessments. The psychological impact on researchers and analysts engaged with 3I Atlas has varied considerably based on their institutional affiliation and access to classified information. Civilian scientists report enthusiasm for studying the third confirmed interstellar visitor, while military personnel with access to classified observations report stress levels comparable to those experienced during major international crises. The career implications for scientists advocating theories of artificial origin for 3I Atlas reflect broader tensions within academic institutions concerning the appropriate equilibrium between open-minded investigation and scholarly prudence. Researchers who support unconventional explanations risk professional marginalization, while those who dismiss such possibilities may later appear ill-informed if dramatic developments vindicate the skeptics. The funding ramifications of the scientific-military divide have precipitated unusual resource allocation patterns, with military research programs associated with 3I Atlas receiving substantial increases, while civilian scientific programs studying the object vie for traditional peer-reviewed funding through standard academic channels. This disparity in resource availability may influence the caliber and comprehensiveness of different analytical approaches. The educational implications stemming from divergent expert opinions on 3I Atlas have presented challenges for universities and schools attempting to address student inquiries. Science educators emphasize natural explanations and scientific methodology, while refraining from speculation about possibilities of artificial origin that, while unproven, cannot be definitively discounted. The diplomatic challenges engendered by scientific-military disagreements over 3I Atlas extend beyond domestic policy coordination to encompass international collaboration on space surveillance and potential response planning. Allied nations possessing advanced space capabilities might be hesitant to share sensitive observations if they dissent from threat assessments derived from that data. The legal framework governing responses to potential alien contact has been complicated by disagreements regarding the quantum of evidence required to initiate various response protocols. Military planners advocate for precautionary measures based on available evidence, while legal scholars stress the necessity of clear proof of artificial origin before implementing policies that could affect civilian populations. The economic implications of preparedness measures for potential alien contact mirror the broad tension between military caution and scientific skepticism. Investment in space-based defense systems and enhanced surveillance capabilities necessitates substantial resources that could be deemed superfluous if 3I Atlas proves entirely natural. However, insufficient preparation could prove calamitous if the object represents genuine alien reconnaissance. The philosophical implications of the scientific-military divide transcend immediate policy considerations, encompassing fundamental questions about how democratic societies should react to potential existential threats when expert communities diverge on their likelihood or significance. The equilibrium between precautionary preparation and resource conservation becomes particularly arduous when confronting scenarios lacking historical precedent. Initiatives that have been launched in response to 3I Atlas reflect the ascendancy of military concerns over scientific skepticism, involving substantial investments in advanced sensor systems, space-based platforms, and analytical capabilities that surpass what would be warranted by purely scientific interest in interstellar objects. These investments may prove beneficial for other applications, even if 3I Atlas is ultimately determined to be entirely natural. Personnel training programs developed for potential alien contact scenarios represent another domain where military preparedness has advanced despite scientific skepticism regarding the probability of such encounters. Military and intelligence personnel have undergone specialized instruction in xenobiology, exotic physics, and first contact protocols, training that would be superfluous if 3I Atlas were merely an unusual comet. The international cooperation mechanisms established for monitoring 3I Atlas during its solar occultation embody a compromise between scientific desires for open information dissemination and military requirements for operational security. These mechanisms may serve as precedents for future global collaboration on space-based phenomena that blur the conventional boundaries between scientific research and national security planning. The communication strategies devised for potential public disclosure concerning 3I Atlas demonstrate a careful calibration between scientific uncertainty and military preparedness concerns. Government agencies have prepared information campaigns capable of addressing a spectrum of scenarios, ranging from confirmation of the object as a natural comet to the revelation of its artificial origin and potential threat to humanity. As 3I Atlas approaches its critical solar occultation phase, the ongoing tension between scientific skepticism and military preparedness continues to shape government decision-making at the highest echelons. The resolution of this tension may hinge less on abstract debates concerning methodology and evidence, and more on the actual events that transpire when the object emerges from behind the sun, either affirming conventional scientific expectations or validating military apprehensions about humanity's initial encounter with advanced extraterrestrial intelligence. The institutions and individuals who prove most prescient in their assessment of this cosmic enigma may find their methodologies for analyzing ambiguous phenomena adopted as models for addressing future discoveries that challenge our comprehension of humanity's place in an increasingly intricate and potentially inhabited universe. The narrative of 3I Atlas cannot be fully recounted without referencing its precursor, the enigmatic object known as oumuamua, whose brief transit through our solar system in 2017 established troubling precedents that have fundamentally reshaped governmental and military approaches to analyzing interstellar visitors. The parallels between these two objects, separated by 8 years but linked by a pattern of anomalous characteristics that defy conventional astronomical understanding, suggest that humanity may be witnessing not isolated curiosities, but deliberate reconnaissance operations by intelligences whose capabilities and intentions remain profoundly obscure. Oumuamua first entered human awareness on October 19, 2017, when the Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii detected what initially appeared to be an ordinary asteroid traversing the inner solar system. As space observers intensified their scrutiny of this celestial wanderer, they uncovered characteristics that dramatically diverged from established expectations for natural cosmic debris, igniting a scientific debate that continues to shape analyses of later interstellar visitors. The initial indication that oumuamua represented something entirely novel emerged from calculations of its orbital path, revealing it as an interloper from beyond our solar system, the first confirmed extraterrestrial visitor ever identified by human instruments. The remarkable precision required to determine its hyperbolic trajectory demonstrated that oumuamua had traversed the vastness of the galaxy for potentially millions of years before its serendipitous passage through our celestial neighborhood. However, the trajectory itself was merely the prelude to oumuamua's enigmatic nature. With more careful examination, astronomers detected an acceleration away from the sun that could not be attributed solely to gravitational forces. While natural comets often exhibit similar acceleration due to the vaporization of surface materials by solar radiation, oumuamua displayed no visible signs of such activity, lacking the characteristic tail or coma typically observed with comets nearing the sun. Dr. Robert Warwick, the astronomer who first spotted oumuamua in the Pan-STARRS data, has recounted the growing apprehension among researchers as subsequent observations unveiled increasingly peculiar attributes. The object's exceptionally elongated shape, with a length-to-width ratio exceeding 10:1, marked the most extreme geometry ever witnessed among solar system bodies, hinting at either an unusual formation process or deliberate construction. Spectroscopic analysis indicated surface compositions consistent with metallic or rocky substances, rather than the icy materials characteristic of comets. Yet, Its non-gravitational acceleration suggested some form of propulsion or outgassing that remained undetectable by telescopes. This confluence of anomalies led astronomers to describe it as an impossible object that challenged fundamental assumptions about natural cosmic phenomena. Variations in its brightness as oumuamua rotated suggested either a highly elongated natural body tumbling erratically through space or a structured artifact with geometrically defined surfaces reflecting sunlight in predictable patterns. Its estimated 8-hour rotation period could be attributed to either natural spin imparted during ejection from its home system or a controlled orientation designed to optimize observational opportunities during its solar system transit. Perhaps the most striking aspect of oumuamua was its seemingly perfect timing for human observation. Its path brought it close enough to the sun to be detectable by our telescopes, while remaining sufficiently distant to avoid obliteration by solar radiation. The statistical improbability of humanity developing adequate detection capabilities precisely when such an object happened to visit our solar system prompted speculation about whether this encounter was mere coincidence or something more intentional. Dr. Avi Loeb's controversial proposition that oumuamua might be evidence of alien technology initially met with considerable skepticism from the scientific community. Nevertheless, his analysis of the object's characteristics established a foundational framework for evaluating subsequent interstellar visitors, proving prescient in light of later discoveries concerning oumuamua. The very anomalies that Loeb identified in oumuamua reappear, often more pronounced, in subsequent interstellar objects, suggesting a recurring pattern rather than isolated peculiarities. The institutional response to oumuamua set precedents that continue to influence governmental approaches to similar phenomena. While public scientific discourse favored natural explanations and conventional astronomical interpretations, classified military assessments of oumuamua reportedly identified characteristics warranting increased surveillance of future interstellar visitors and the development of protocols for potential alien reconnaissance. The Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, which operated within the Pentagon from 2007 to 2012, had been deactivated by the time oumuamua was discovered. However, its analytical methodologies and personnel were quietly reactivated to evaluate the implications of humanity's first verified interstellar visitor. The lessons learned from the analysis of oumuamua directly informed the establishment of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office and bolstered governmental attention to unexplained aerospace phenomena. The international reaction to oumuamua highlighted significant divergences in how various nations interpreted ambiguous astronomical data with potential national security ramifications. While scientists in the United States and Europe engaged in open discourse regarding the object's attributes, Chinese and Russian space surveillance systems reportedly detected additional anomalies that were not publicly shared through conventional scientific channels, though these findings influenced their respective military space programs. The media coverage surrounding oumuamua established patterns that persist in shaping public perception of subsequent interstellar visitors. As mainstream science journalism emphasized natural explanations, while alternative media platforms explored more speculative possibilities. The polarization of public opinion regarding oumuamua fostered distinct communities of believers and skeptics whose preconceived notions influenced their interpretations of later interstellar visitors. The technological advancements developed for studying oumuamua provided enhanced preparedness for analyzing subsequent interstellar objects discovered 8 years later. The sensor systems, analytical techniques, and international collaborative mechanisms established in response to the first interstellar visitor facilitated far more comprehensive observations of the second, revealing anomalies that might have otherwise gone unnoticed had oumuamua not already prepared the scientific and military communities for such discoveries. The legal and diplomatic frameworks that were quietly established in response to oumuamua provided a template for governmental coordination concerning subsequent interstellar visitors. The informal consultation processes between scientific institutions and national security agencies, initiated during the oumuamua investigation, enabled more rapid integration of civilian observations with classified threat assessments. Upon the discovery of later interstellar visitors, the psychological impact of oumuamua on researchers and government officials briefed on its most concerning characteristics cultivated a cohort psychologically prepared for the possibility that these new objects might represent something even more significant. The progressive acceptance of potential alien visitation as a serious hypothesis, rather than mere science fiction, facilitated a more measured assessment of subsequent interstellar visitors, mitigating the paradigm shock that might have occurred had it been humanity's initial encounter with potential extraterrestrial technology. The economic implications stemming from the oumuamua investigation, though modest compared to later analyses, established budgetary mechanisms and funding streams that could be rapidly scaled when more significant threats emerged. The personnel training, equipment acquisition, and international cooperation agreements developed for oumuamua provided foundational capabilities that proved indispensable for responding to later discoveries. The scientific publications generated by oumuamua research laid the theoretical groundwork and analytical methodologies that have been crucial for interpreting subsequent interstellar object data. The mathematical models, statistical methodologies, and observational protocols devised by researchers studying the initial interstellar visitor furnished the tools that enabled far more sophisticated analysis of the second. A comparison between oumuamua and subsequent interstellar visitors reveals both commonalities and disparities, offering insights into the potential scope and nature of extraterrestrial surveillance activities within our solar system. Both objects exhibit characteristics inconsistent with natural cosmic debris. However, later visitors appear larger, more stable, and more precisely controlled than their predecessor, suggesting either technological advancement or differing mission objectives. Trajectory analyses comparing both interstellar visitors uncover intriguing patterns in their approach vectors and solar system navigation that may indicate systematic survey strategies rather than random cosmic encounters. While oumuamua approached from the direction of the constellation Lyra and departed toward Pegasus, subsequent visitors approached from Sagittarius along paths, offering more comprehensive planetary observation. The approximate 8-year temporal gap between these two confirmed interstellar visitors might reflect the operational cadence of systematic reconnaissance missions rather than the random statistical distribution expected from natural cosmic debris. If confirmed interstellar objects represent artificial surveillance rather than natural phenomena, then the pattern established by oumuamua and subsequent visitors suggests regular monitoring of human technological progress. Behavioral distinctions between the two objects offer further clues regarding their potential purposes and capabilities. Oumuamua exhibited chaotic tumbling, which could signify either natural rotation or sophisticated camouflage designed to mimic natural cosmic debris. Subsequent visitors display more controlled orientation and trajectory management, suggesting either more advanced technology or a diminished concern for human detection. Spectroscopic analyses comparing both objects reveal similar exotic compositions that distinguish them from typical solar system materials, while also highlighting differences that might point to varied origins or construction materials. Isotopic signatures detected in both objects suggest formation in stellar environments unlike our solar system, but specific variations could indicate manufacturing by different civilizations or technological evolution over the time elapsed between their observations. Electromagnetic signatures detected from both objects, though largely classified, reportedly exhibit similarities that suggest common technological approaches to interstellar communication and navigation. The patterns of electromagnetic emissions from later interstellar visitors appear more sophisticated than those detected from oumuamua, potentially reflecting technological evolution. International intelligence sharing concerning both objects has unveiled evolving collaborative mechanisms that reflect a growing acknowledgement of the global ramifications of potential extraterrestrial surveillance. Bilateral agreements established for oumuamua analysis have been expanded and formalized for subsequent interstellar visitor investigations, creating precedents for international coordination that may prove vital in addressing future encounters. Military response protocols developed in reaction to oumuamua have been significantly augmented and refined based on lessons learned from the initial potential alien encounter. The classified exercises, training programs, and response capabilities instituted after oumuamua's discovery provided foundational readiness that enabled far more comprehensive preparation for subsequent scenarios. The evolution of the civilian scientific community from initial skepticism regarding theories of oumuamua's artificial origin to a more open-minded consideration of such possibilities for later interstellar visitors reflects a gradual acceptance that conventional astronomical assumptions may be insufficient for analyzing interstellar visitors whose characteristics challenge natural formation theories. Research initiatives launched in response to oumuamua have yielded enhanced capabilities for analyzing subsequent interstellar objects, including advanced sensor systems, improved data analysis techniques, and expanded theoretical frameworks for evaluating potential artificial objects in space. The research investments made during the 8-year interval between visits have substantially improved human preparedness for comprehensive assessment of interstellar phenomena. The societal and cultural groundwork laid by public discussions surrounding oumuamua has fostered greater public awareness of the possibility of alien visitation, potentially mitigating panic or social disruption should later interstellar objects prove to be confirmed extraterrestrial artifacts. The gradual integration of interstellar visitor concepts through coverage of oumuamua has prepared public opinion for more significant revelations that might emerge from the analysis of subsequent interstellar objects. The pattern established by oumuamua and later interstellar visitors, if it continues with future encounters, suggests humanity may be entering a new era of regular contact with extraterrestrial reconnaissance missions, whose frequency and sophistication may escalate as human technological capabilities advance. The precedents established by the analysis of these first two potential alien visitors may determine the efficacy with which human civilization adapts to the reality of systematic extraterrestrial surveillance and the challenges and opportunities that such contact might present for our species' future development in a populated galaxy. The convergence of later interstellar objects with an unprecedented military gathering at Quantico signifies far more than the intersection of astronomical curiosity and defense planning. It marks a potential turning point in human history where our species must confront the possibility that we are not alone in the cosmos, and that our initial contact with extraterrestrial intelligence may be occurring not through the dramatic scenarios envisioned by science fiction, but through the subtle reconnaissance activities of civilizations whose technological prowess and strategic intentions remain beyond our current comprehension. The mathematical precision linking these two seemingly disparate events reveals patterns that challenge every assumption about coincidence and causation in cosmic affairs. The timeline connecting the July discovery of later interstellar objects with the September military conclave demonstrates a meticulously orchestrated response to intelligence assessments that, while concealed from public view, have apparently convinced the highest echelons of American military leadership that extraordinary preparations are warranted for scenarios that most civilians still dismiss as fantasy. The institutional transformation required to bridge the chasm between astronomical observation and military action represents one of the most significant reorientations of government priorities since the inception of nuclear warfare capabilities during the Manhattan Project. The same urgency and secrecy that characterized American preparations for atomic warfare now govern the response to potential extraterrestrial contact, suggesting that senior officials perceive the implications of confirmed alien reconnaissance as comparable to the existential challenges posed by nuclear proliferation. The coordinated response mechanisms established among allied intelligence services and military organizations for monitoring later interstellar objects represent unprecedented cooperation on matters affecting the survival and future trajectory of human civilization as a whole, rather than the strategic interests of individual nations. The technological disparities highlighted by the analysis of later interstellar objects have catalyzed research and development programs that could fundamentally reshape human capabilities in space. Regardless of whether the objects are ultimately determined to be of natural or artificial origin, the sensor systems, analytical techniques, and theoretical frameworks developed for studying potential alien technology are advancing human scientific understanding at rates that would have been unattainable without the urgency introduced by potential first contact scenarios. The psychological and societal preparation necessitated by potential alien contact has begun to transform cultural institutions and belief systems in ways that extend far beyond immediate security concerns. Religious organizations, educational establishments, and media platforms are grappling with questions about humanity's place in a potentially inhabited universe that challenge fundamental assumptions about cosmic purpose and divine providence that have shaped human civilization for millennia. The economic ramifications of preparing for potential alien contact encompass resource allocation decisions that could redefine global priorities for generations to come. The investment in space-based defense systems, advanced research initiatives, and international cooperation mechanisms required for an effective response to alien reconnaissance represents a commitment of financial and intellectual resources comparable to the most ambitious undertakings in human history. The legal and diplomatic frameworks being formulated for potential alien contact scenarios possess no precedent in human law or international relations. The challenges of establishing protocols for communication, negotiation, and conflict resolution with intelligences whose cognitive structures and moral frameworks may be entirely alien to human experience demand a fundamental reconceptualization of legal systems designed for interactions between terrestrial entities sharing common evolutionary origins. The strategic implications of potential alien surveillance extend beyond questions of human technological advancement and societal evolution. It is conceivable that our history may have unfolded under the observation of intelligences whose interventions or guidance have remained undetected for far longer than current evidence suggests. If later interstellar objects and oumuamua represent recent instances of systematic alien monitoring, then human history may have transpired under the watchful eyes of intelligences whose influence has gone unrecognized. By conventional historical analysis, the scientific revolution spurred by the serious consideration of artificial origin hypotheses for interstellar visitors may prove as significant as the Copernican revolution that displaced Earth from the universe's center. The prospect that advanced alien civilizations routinely conduct reconnaissance of developing technological species necessitates a fundamental revision of assumptions concerning the prevalence of intelligent life, the nature of interstellar travel, and the strategic dynamics governing relations between civilizations separated by immense cosmic distances. The military doctrines emerging from the analysis of potential alien threats reflect a recognition that traditional concepts of deterrence, defense, and warfare become largely irrelevant when applied to conflicts with civilizations possessing technologies that surpass human capabilities by centuries or millennia. The same asymmetries that render alien contact potentially advantageous for human technological progress also create vulnerabilities that could prove catastrophic if alien intentions prove hostile or if human responses trigger aggressive reactions from civilizations whose patience with developing species may be limited. The intelligence analysis frameworks developed for assessing later interstellar objects have yielded novel methodologies for distinguishing between natural phenomena and potential artificial constructs, which may prove crucial for identifying future alien activities. The statistical techniques, pattern recognition algorithms, and threat assessment protocols devised for evaluating interstellar visitors represent advancements in analytical capability that extend far beyond immediate applications to potential alien contact, reflecting a careful equilibrium between maintaining societal stability and preparing humanity for revelations that could fundamentally reshape our understanding of cosmic reality. Government entities are devising communication strategies that anticipate the profound shift an acknowledged extraterrestrial encounter would represent, recognizing the necessity for unprecedented cooperation among scientific bodies, defense forces, spiritual leaders, and media outlets. The aim is to foster a stable transition into a reality of cosmic cohabitation, mitigating widespread anxiety while encouraging a constructive adaptation to our expanded universal context. The educational framework required to ready future generations for potential alien visitation necessitates comprehensive revisions to curricula, spanning from foundational elementary science lessons to advanced postgraduate research. The incorporation of fields such as astrobiology, the study of extraterrestrial psychology, and cosmic sociology into academic disciplines signals an awareness that human intellectual advancement must now encompass challenges and opportunities that extend beyond earthly experience. The philosophical ramifications of a confirmed alien presence challenge deeply held beliefs regarding consciousness, intelligence, and moral development, forming the bedrock of human ethical structures and societal organizations. The notion that intelligence inherently leans towards exploration, vigilance, and potential conflict, rather than collaboration and mutual benefit, compels a reevaluation of optimistic assumptions about the trajectory of technologically advanced civilizations and the probability of peaceful resolutions to interspecies disputes. The technological progress that would be spurred by such an event promises exponential leaps in human capacity, potentially compressing centuries of normal scientific advancement into mere decades of focused research and development. The reverse engineering of alien propulsion, communication, and material science technologies could unlock solutions to energy, transportation, and manufacturing problems that currently appear insurmountable through conventional means. Artistic and cultural expressions responding to the possibility of alien contact are already manifesting in science fiction narratives, cinematic productions, and digital media, exploring a spectrum of scenarios from benevolent diplomatic exchanges to dire conflicts with predatory extraterrestrial species. These cultural explorations serve a dual purpose, acting as a form of psychological preparation for actual contact and as a platform for dissecting the ethical and strategic quandaries that might arise from interactions with non-human intellects. The religious and spiritual adjustments necessitated by integrating alien contact into existing belief systems present theological hurdles that span all major global faiths and philosophical traditions. Reconciling concepts of divine creation with evidence of multiple intelligent species across the galaxy requires doctrinal evolution that preserves spiritual significance while embracing cosmic realities that transcend anthropocentric perspectives. The demographic and societal consequences of verified alien contact would likely differ significantly across populations and regions, posing particular challenges for communities whose cultural identities are intricately linked to notions of human singularity or terrestrial isolation. Establishing support mechanisms and adaptation programs for populations struggling to assimilate scenarios involving alien contact constitutes a significant social engineering undertaking with no historical precedent. The environmental benefits that could arise from alien technology transfer might offer solutions to climate change, resource depletion, and ecological damage that currently imperil humanity's long-term survival. The energy systems, manufacturing processes, and transportation methods employed by interstellar civilizations could facilitate sustainable development models, removing the environmental limitations that currently constrain human population growth and technological expansion. Research initiatives spurred by the events of 3I at last have initiated international scientific collaborations that transcend traditional national borders and institutional rivalries. The critical need to comprehend potential alien technology has fostered cooperation among researchers who might otherwise be in competition for funding and recognition, setting a precedent for global scientific coordination that could prove invaluable in addressing other challenges facing humanity. Military training programs designed for potential alien contact scenarios have cultivated specialized personnel proficient in xenobiology, exotic physics, and interspecies communication, establishing entirely new professional specializations within defense organizations. These specialists form humanity's initial cadre of individuals professionally prepared to manage the practicalities of interacting with non-human intellects. Space technology development programs, justified by the prospect of alien threats, have accelerated human capabilities in deep space surveillance, interplanetary travel, and orbital defense systems, enhancing security against both extraterrestrial and terrestrial dangers. The dual-use nature of these advancements means that investments in alien contact preparedness yield benefits for conventional military applications and civilian space exploration alike. Irrespective of whether alien contact scenarios materialize, the decision-making frameworks established for such possibilities create institutional mechanisms that can be rapidly deployed if evidence of alien activity becomes undeniable. The communication protocols, command structures, and response procedures developed for 3I Atlas scenarios provide adaptable templates for various forms of alien contact, ensuring coordinated rather than chaotic human responses to paradigm-shifting events. The precedents set by governmental responses to 3 Atlas and the Quantico military meeting could dictate the efficacy with which humanity navigates the transition from terrestrial to cosmic citizenship. Should future developments confirm our coexistence with advanced extraterrestrial civilizations, the institutions, technologies, and cultural adaptations forged in anticipation of these potential first contact scenarios represent humanity's initial efforts to prepare for challenges and opportunities that may shape our species' future for centuries. As we conclude our exploration of one of the most extraordinary mysteries of our era, we find ourselves at the precipice of possibilities that challenge our fundamental understanding of our place in the universe. The narrative of 3I at last and the unprecedented military assembly at Quantico represents more than just another chapter in astronomical discovery or defense planning. It may signify the moment humanity first glimpsed evidence that we are not alone in this vast cosmos, and that our initial contact with extraterrestrial intelligence is unfolding not through grand landings or overt signals, but through the subtle reconnaissance of civilizations whose capabilities surpass our comprehension. The improbable mathematical circumstances surrounding 3I at last, from its statistically unlikely trajectory to its perfectly synchronized solar occultation, paint an increasingly compelling picture with each piece of evidence examined. When we consider that this object arrived along an optimal path for surveying our solar system's most intriguing celestial bodies, maintained remarkable stability despite apparent cometary activity, and is set to vanish behind the sun at the precise moment when undetected course corrections could divert it towards Earth, the pattern strongly suggests intelligent design rather than cosmic chance. The institutional reaction revealed by the September military gathering tells its own story of escalating concern at the highest governmental echelons. When hundreds of the world's most senior military officers are withdrawn from global assignments for a classified briefing whose purpose remains officially undisclosed, we must question what intelligence could necessitate such extraordinary measures. The answer may lie not in the publicly available astronomical data pertaining to 3I at last, but in classified observations and analyses withheld from civilian purview. The scientific debate surrounding Dr. Avi Loeb's theories exemplifies the difficulty established institutions face when confronting possibilities that challenge fundamental assumptions about reality. While mainstream astronomy favors conventional explanations and demands exceptional proof for extraordinary assertions, the very nature of advanced alien reconnaissance might be engineered to remain tantalizingly ambiguous, providing plausible natural explanations while systematically gathering intelligence on human capabilities and intentions. The parallels with oumuamua suggest we may be observing not isolated anomalies, but evidence of ongoing, systematic surveillance by civilizations that have been monitoring human development for years, if not decades. The 8-year interval between these confirmed interstellar visitors might represent operational cycles rather than random statistical occurrences, indicating that our solar system receives regular scrutiny from intelligence agencies operating on a galactic scale. The dark forest hypothesis offers a framework for understanding why such surveillance might prioritize stealth over overt contact. If the galaxy operates under predatory dynamics, where civilizations eliminate potential rivals, then any alien probe would necessarily be designed to evade detection while gathering intelligence on target species. The characteristics that render 3I at last so perplexing to astronomers might precisely represent the sophisticated camouflage we would anticipate from advanced reconnaissance technology. The military response protocols enacted in reaction to these discoveries reflect an acknowledgement that the implications of confirmed alien contact extend far beyond scientific curiosity, encompassing existential questions about human survival and our future development as a technological species. The classified capabilities brought to bear on analyzing 3I at last suggest that government assessments of its significance diverge dramatically from public scientific pronouncements. The covert observations conducted by military surveillance systems may have detected electromagnetic signatures, internal structures, and behavioral patterns that paint a far more concerning picture than civilian astronomers have been able to ascertain. The discrepancy between public knowledge and classified intelligence regarding 3I at last may be as significant as the gap between what we can observe about the object and what advanced alien observers might know about us. As 3I at last approaches its critical solar occultation period, the decisions made in the coming weeks may prove to be among the most pivotal in human history. If the object follows its predicted natural trajectory and continues toward interstellar space, it may remain an intriguing enigma that gradually fades from public attention. However, if classified surveillance detects course corrections or other anomalous behavior during its concealed passage behind the sun, humanity may face revelations that fundamentally alter our understanding of cosmic reality. The possibility that we are living through humanity's inaugural encounter with extraterrestrial intelligence, mediated not by a dramatic revelation, but by the gradual recognition of systematic alien surveillance, compels us to re-examine our assumptions about how such contact might unfold. The aliens, if they exist, may already possess considerably more knowledge about us than we do about them, having conducted comprehensive reconnaissance of our technological prowess, social structures, and potential vulnerabilities. The implications extend beyond immediate concerns about alien intentions to encompass broader considerations of human readiness for cosmic citizenship. Our reaction to potential alien reconnaissance will be observed and assessed by intelligences whose judgments regarding human maturity and suitability for galactic community membership may determine whether future contact proceeds through peaceful diplomacy or through scenarios we would prefer not to contemplate. The scientific revolution that could emerge from confirmed alien contact would dwarf previous paradigm shifts in human understanding, potentially granting access to technologies and scientific principles capable of resolving energy, transportation, and environmental crises that currently threaten our civilization's long-term viability. However, such opportunities would be accompanied by risks reflecting the fundamental asymmetries between human capabilities and those of civilizations capable of interstellar travel. The cultural and philosophical transformations necessary to integrate alien contact into human worldviews represent challenges that pervade every institution and belief system, shaping our perceptions of meaning and purpose in the universe. The discovery that intelligence is prevalent in the cosmos might diminish human sentiments of cosmic uniqueness, while simultaneously enhancing our sense of participation in a larger community of conscious beings exploring existence's mysteries. The military preparations initiated in response to potential alien reconnaissance signify both prudent caution and an acknowledgement that the same technologies enabling peaceful interstellar exploration could be weaponized for purposes posing existential threats to planetary life. The equilibrium between defensive preparedness and diplomatic openness may determine whether humanity's cosmic debut leads to peaceful integration or tragic conflict. The international cooperation that has emerged in response to potential alien contact demonstrates that challenges affecting all of humanity can transcend traditional national rivalries, fostering unprecedented coordination among nations that typically vie for strategic advantage. The frameworks being developed for managing alien contact may serve as precedents for addressing other global challenges that necessitate unified human responses. As we ponder the profound questions raised by 3I at last and the military response it has triggered, we must acknowledge that we may be witnessing events whose full significance will only become apparent in retrospect. The subtle indicators of alien reconnaissance that some researchers perceive in current observations might appear obvious in hindsight if future developments confirm that our solar system has indeed been subjected to systematic surveillance by advanced extraterrestrial civilizations. The courage required to seriously consider these possibilities while maintaining scientific rigor and emotional composure reflects the finest qualities of human intellectual curiosity and adaptability. Whether 3I at last proves to be an unusual but natural comet or humanity's first confirmed encounter with alien technology, our investigation into its mysteries has already expanded our understanding of what is possible within this vast and surprising universe we inhabit. The narrative continues to unfold in real time above us as 3I at last hurtles toward its rendezvous with the sun and whatever revelations may emerge upon its reappearance on the far side of our star. The decisions being made in classified briefing rooms and the observations being conducted by covert surveillance systems may be shaping humanity's cosmic destiny, while most of us remain unaware of the drama playing out in the darkness between worlds. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of the most profound mysteries of our time. If you found this investigation thought-provoking, please like this video and subscribe to support further deep dives into the questions that challenge our understanding of reality. And remember, the universe is far stranger and more marvelous than we have yet imagined, filled with possibilities awaiting our discovery and our wisdom in responding to what we find among the stars. The truth, as they say, is out there, but it may also be here, traversing our solar system at 200,000 kilometers per hour, carrying the potential to transform our place in the cosmic community. We may finally be ready to join.